An architect of New Labour, Lord Mandelson, has expressed concern about Ed Miliband's plan to freeze energy prices for 20 months if the party wins the next election. He suggested the pledge could leave Labour open to accusations that its policies are being taken backwards, as Vicky Young reports.
Lord Mandelson, Labour's former business secretary, tells The Guardian that when he was a minister, he'd tried to move on from the conventional choice in industrial policy between state control and laissez-faire. Now perceptions of Labour policy were in danger of being taken backwards, he said. But others deny the energy policy is a shift to the left, describing it as putting consumers first when they're up against anti-competitive forces.
Traders at Aylesbury Market have told BBC Three Counties Radio that more needs to be done to improve their working conditions. Aylesbury Vale District Council strongly dispute claims that stalls are being allowed to fall into disrepair and say they're doing all they can to support the market. Bletchley Park is unveiling a newly refurbished Codebreakers hut this morning as part of an £8 million restoration project. Here's Lorna Hankin with the details.
Hut 11, nicknamed the Hellhole, was home to the Wrens in the Second World War. The women operated machines in the hut which helped speed up the process of breaking into the daily Enigma settings. Visitors can now tour the hut and see an exhibition there which tells the story of how the Buckinghamshire estate played a major role in Britain winning the war. It's all part of a restoration project which was made possible by a £250,000 donation left by the late Bletchley Park veteran Maureen Jones.
In sport, Manchester United returned to winning ways last night following Sunday's 4-1 derby defeat. A Javier Hernandez goal just after half-time sealed a 1-0 win over Liverpool to send United through to the fourth round of the Capital One Cup. The weather now dry with sunny spells and a top temperature of 18 degrees Celsius. That's 64 degrees Fahrenheit. Get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties.
Thank you, Kathleen Boyle.
Oh, you're welcome.
Good morning. This is Iain Lee on BBC Three Counties Radio. You can give me a call. Call in now, actually. We'll have a chat about anything, even my voice change. 08459 455 555. Or you can give me a text, 81333. Start your message with 3CR. That's 3CR for Three Counties Radio. We have a call here. It's probably Iain. Coming up on the show today, probably more of Iain, if anyone knows where he is. So that's 08459 455 555. Start your message with 3CR if you're on the text. Do the menu. I'm getting a little... I can't. It's too serious. I can't read the menu. It's too serious. I'm in too much of a happy mood. Throw out some talking points. What are they? I don't know what the talking points are. Oh, would you drink less if supermarkets didn't sell cheap alcohol? Would you drink less if supermarkets didn't sell cheap alcohol? Iain, do you want to come in at any point? No, I think we might have got a caller. No. Oh, it's a travel update. Excellent. So there's 08459 455 555. And if you want to send a text in, you can. 813. All right, mate. Are you right?
Out.
How's it going?
Yeah, fine. Now, will you stop saying my job is easy? Thank you very much, dear listener. I can only apologise for that. No idea what was going on there. Good morning. This is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. That was Kelly Betts. That'll keep her quiet for the rest of the day, hopefully. Lots coming up on the show, including a 10-year-old boy was left with his skull exposed for more than 20 hours. His dad isn't happy with local hospitals. Would you drink less if supermarkets didn't sell cheap alcohol? And as local markets are struggling, when was the last time you actually bought something from your local market? Facebook.com/BBC3CR. You can send me a text, 81333, start your text 3CR, or you can give me a call, 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
A father from Bedfordshire has criticised the level of NHS care available for children locally after his 10-year-old son, Charlie, was left with a head wound that exposed his skull for more than 20 hours. Well, Rob Ferguson from Harold says confused messages about children's services at Bedford Hospital meant he went straight to Milton Keynes, only to be told to go to Stoke Mandeville. But his problems didn't stop there.
Charlie came off his bike in Harold, where we live, which was around about 5:30 in the afternoon, and he basically managed to impale himself on a picket fence. So he smashed his forehead into the point of a picket fence, which made a quite a clean cut. but very deep. I'd heard the news that Bedford Hospital A&E was no longer accepting kids. I've heard various conflicting reports about that, but my understanding right there and then was it wasn't worth the risk of driving to Bedford and possibly finding that we wouldn't be admitted. So I chose to take him to Milton Keynes. On arrival, we obviously went through the A&E process, which is never a quick one. In total, we were in Milton Keynes for, I would say, definitely 3 hours. We were seen by the triage nurse originally to sort of basically assess the wound, and then they cleaned the wound up, and then we waited for the consultant. Charlie was sat on a bed, and we just waited for a couple of hours. And when the consultant came down, he said that basically they couldn't do anything with it at Milton Keynes. They were unable to stitch it because it was too deep and the skull was exposed. He actually pointed out to me and showed me that, you've gone through the 5 layers of skin and tissue, and then pointed and said that is his skull. So it was pretty nasty. So he said we would have to go to Stoke Mandeville. In the meantime, they took some x-rays for us to take with us and gave us directions, sent us off on our way. I did ask at that point if it was possible if we could be treated at Bedford, if they could check. And they said no, even if you had gone to Bedford, you would still have been sent to Stoke Mandeville. So we set off to Stoke Mandeville, got there sometime after 11 p.m. We were told that on arrival that Milton Keynes would have informed them that we were coming. When we checked in A&E there, nobody knew anything about it. Nobody had any idea that we were coming, and we basically had to start the A&E process again. So we saw another triage nurse, and I did explain that we'd already been through this process at Milton Keynes, but she said, well, we're going to go through it again. And we did the whole routine of explaining what happened, and pulse and blood pressure, all the things that we'd already done. I gave them the x-rays that Milton Keynes had given us on a disc. We were then sat in a room, pretty much on our own, again for certainly over an hour, waiting for the consultant to come down to, as I expected, to begin the treatment and send us off. But when he did come down, he had a good look at the wound and told me what I'd already been told about what it was and how deep it was and so on, and explained that they also couldn't treat him tonight and that we would have to come back the next day to have him admitted and treated there. So basically they just bandaged him back up exactly the same as we left Milton Keynes. So really we needn't even have bothered going to Stoke Mandeville as far as I'm concerned, because we were in exactly the same position then. They said, you need to keep an eye on him, and if there's any signs of vomiting or drowsiness, and bear in mind, the time of day, he's going to be drowsy anyway. He said, you might want to sleep in his room, and if there's any signs of this, bring him back and we'll do a CT scan. And, obviously bringing him back is well over an hour's drive for us. So I thought that was a pretty bizarre thing. And why would they not just admit him for the night, bearing in mind he was going to be treated there the next day, where, he could be monitored properly for any of those symptoms.
Well, that was Rob Ferguson from Harold talking about his son. Stoke Mandeville and Milton Keynes hospitals have declined to come on the show this morning, but the surgical department at Stoke Mandeville sent us this statement. Unfortunately, it's too long, so I'm not going to read all of it. I'll read a snatch from it. I'm not reading all of it. We're sorry Mr. Ferguson is unhappy with the care provided to his son at Stoke Mandeville Hospital. It is absolutely our aim to ensure that our patients have access to the most appropriate treatment when they need it. And you can hear Rob's full story when he joins me live after 7. 08459 455 555 is the phone number.
I need love to ease my mind. I need to find someone to call mine. When Mama said you can't hurry love, no, you just have to wait. She said love don't come easy. It's a game of give and take. You can't hurry love, no, you just have to
trying to avoid spoilers. I'm avoiding spoilers. As a huge fan of the television series Breaking Bad, it really is marvellous. It's very dark. But it's coming to an end very soon, and I've not seen any of these last few episodes. I think the last episode is almost upon us. And, oh, dearie me. Look, there's the Guardian is telling us what happens. Go away. I don't want to know what happens in Breaking Bad, for goodness sakes. I want to discover it at my own pace, if you don't mind. 08459 455 555. Martin's on the M1. Good morning, Martin.
Good morning.
What seems to be the trouble, officer?
Well, just passing by on the northbound carriageway, there was two HGV lorries parked perpendicular across the carriageway, and then behind that, one HGV lorry all crippled up. And it looks like there's a couple of other cars involved as well. That's going to be closed a long while.
So hang on, which way is it closed? Northbound or southbound?
It's northbound, just past Junction 7.
So just past Junction 7, northbound, the M1 is closed.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big recovery. That's going to be a while.
Ouch. Well, that's going to be a fun morning for everyone, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Oh dear. Well, Martin, listen, thank you. Are you a fan of Breaking Bad, Martin?
I've never seen it in my life.
Oh, go! Listen, go. If you ever manage to get out of that traffic, go and buy the box set. It's fantastic. Well, there you go. The northbound, Martin was saying there. The northbound. You've just written southbound on the screen, so that's going to confuse matters incredibly. So northbound, Junction 7 of the M1. Good luck with that, guys. Good luck with that. We'll get the latest in a couple of minutes with James Worley when we find out about that. 08459 455 555. Local and vocal. That was local, and I could hear it. It was vocal. All boxes were ticked. In a little bit, do you remember the other day we played that Chaz and Dave song, the new Chaz and Dave song, When Two Worlds Collide? I've been banned from playing all of it, but I've got an idea. It mixed opinion, this song. It really did mix opinion. So I've got a sneaky little idea of how we can find out whether it is the pop classic I believe it to be, or it's tosh, as some of you believe it possibly to be. So this is it. We'll be playing that a bit later on. I might send Justin Dealey out with that a bit later. Don't you see? It's one of those songs you don't need to know the words to. Can we try and get Chaz on? Chaz has been on the show before. Let's see if we can get Chaz on to talk about this artistic triumph. We'll see if we can get him on later on. 08459 455 555. It's 6:15. Let's get the travel news now with the latest on that problem on the M1. Here's James Worley.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thanks, Ian. Yes, the northbound M1 blocked between junctions 8 and 9. I can see on the cameras a lorry has overturned across all 4 lanes, so the motorway is blocked. We understand 2 other lorries involved in this accident. As I say, it's about 2.5 miles north of junction 8, Hemel Hempstead, not at junction 7. It's slightly north of 7, but 2.5 miles north of 8 if you're on the northbound M1. All lanes are blocked. Emergency services arriving on the scene at the moment, and obviously a closure will be going in at some points, but the northbound M1 at the moment is just blocked off, but an official closure I'm sure will be going in shortly. We'll keep you up to date throughout the morning. Southbound, there's an accident reported 11 to 10. Brian called in to say cars hit the central reservation between the Dunstable turn and the turn for Luton Airport on the southbound M1. It's also very busy, slow moving past the scene, by the way, southbound, passing the accident that's blocked the northbound side, so 9 to 8 slow past the scene of the northbound accident. The anti-clockwise M25 really slow still between junctions, already should I say, between 26 and 24 through the roadworks, not helped by an accident at junction 26 Waltham Abbey on the anti-clockwise side. 2 lanes were closed, but it is slow moving from 26 round towards Potter's Bar. And as for trains, well, they're okay, no reported problems across the 3 counties currently. I'm James Worley, BBC 3 Counties Radio.
Thank you, James. 6:17. It's is it Thursday already? Thursday the 26th of September. I'm Iain Lee, and these are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A Bedfordshire man is raising concerns about local hospital provision for children, claiming his son was left with a deep head wound for 20 hours. Police in Bedford are appealing for witnesses to a vicious attack on a couple out walking their dogs by the embankment. In sport, Manchester United beat Liverpool 1-0 to go through to the fourth round of the Capital One Cup. Coming up, would you drink less if supermarkets didn't sell cheap alcohol? I'm always unsure about this, whether it's... if alcohol were more expensive, people would still buy it, wouldn't they? Or have I got that completely wrong? 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio. If you've got a problem with a company, a council or an organisation...
They were really, really unhelpful. They laughed at me.
The JVS show fights for your rights and tackles your consumer problems.
We have been back 11 visits, each time because of the problems my husband's been having.
Since the beginning of June, I've had no schedule freezer.
If you need our help, email jvsshow@bbc.co.uk.
Gentleman then agreed to refund me my money. As of yet, he's resold the vehicle and still no refund.
The JVS show, weekdays from 9, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Justin Dealey.
Good morning, boss.
Well done, sir. Thank you. And can I just say a big round of applause to Justin for going above and beyond this morning. He brought us all in coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I can't.
No, go on.
Well...
Go on.
No, I can't.
Go on.
No.
Come on.
It seems rude.
No, come on.
It was cold.
What would you expect? It was a 10-minute journey.
What I expect is, well... I expect warm coffee, Justin. That's not asking too much, is it?
I said to you, here's the coffee, OK? It's got your name on it. Go and put it in the mic if you need to warm it up. But you didn't.
No, because I shouldn't have to do that.
Oh, for goodness sake.
The two things that are flagged up here...
Yeah.
You should have got it from a nearer vendor.
But that vendor had shut recently.
I know, but it's reopening soon.
Yeah, soon, yes.
That's exciting. Mm-hmm. Can you go... You're talking about petrol stations. Sorry, we should have this conversation off air, but you're here. When the petrol stations are shut...
Yeah.
Can you still ask them to make your coffee?
Yeah, you can. Of course you can.
Really?
I think so, yeah, because, some petrol stations, every now and again, they run out of fuel. But, of course, in the store, they still sell things like coffee, cigarettes and confectionery. So, yes...
How does he get the coffee through the slot?
I don't know. This morning, I had to say, I need 5 coffees. The door was locked. I said, I need to come in. This is going to be quicker for all concerned if you just let me in the door. And he did.
This is going to be quicker for all concerned. Oh, you've made me chuckle. Listen, we've been playing this song this week.
Yeah.
I don't It's the new Chaz and Dave record, When Two Worlds Collide. I love it, you love it.
That's brilliant.
Here we go. I think it's a cracking song.
Yeah, so do I.
We've sort of been told off by management for playing it, but perhaps a little bit too much. When two worlds collide. Even Kelly Betts is singing along with it. Justin, can you do me a favour? I want to win management round. Can you take a copy of this song out this morning? And I don't know, get like a ghetto blaster or something.
Yes.
And play it to the people of Beds, Hearts and Bucks and get their opinion on it.
You are in luck. I tell you why, because this morning I have my Bush ghetto blaster with me.
Have you got your Bush out?
Yes, I've got my Bush out. It's here with me today. I'll be taking the new Chaz and Dave single onto the streets of Bedfordshire to get people's reaction. Even if they don't like it, I'll make them say they love it. Don't worry, it's all under control.
Make it good, and we're going to get Chaz on later on, hopefully. So
fingers crossed.
We'll have a word with him.
Brilliant.
JD, speak to you later.
Thanks, Iain.
Ta-ta, 08459 455 555. Oh, Chaz from Chaz and Dave will be coming on. That's exciting.
Some say that we are pawns, but we've been making money since the day that we were born. Got to slow down before we fall down. liposuction, detox for your rent, overdose of Christmas, and give it up for Lent. My friends are all so cynical, we refuse to keep the faith. We all enjoy the madness, 'cause we know we're gonna fade away. We got stars directing our fate, and we're praying it's not too late, 'cause we know we're falling from grace. Millennium, come and have a go if you think you are hot enough. Come and have a go if you think you are hot enough. Millennium, we got stars directing our fate, and we're praying it's not too late, 'cause we know we're falling from grace. Millennium.
Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio.
And when we come, we always come too late. I have to think that we were born to hate. Get up and see the sarcasm in my eyes. And when we come, we always come.
You a fan of cheap booze?
That we were born to hate. Get up and see.
Well, Wickham District Council has teamed up with Thames Valley Police to sign up shops and outlets in High Wycombe to take part in a scheme to stop selling cheap alcohol. They decided to take on the idea after a similar project became a success in Ipswich last year. The council says it's gone well so far, reducing antisocial behaviour, with the majority of retailers agreeing to take part and not sell the cheap booze. Well, what do you think? Is that fair? Should responsible drinkers be penalised by having cheap booze taken away just because some people can't handle it? We're joined now by Eric Appleby, Chief Executive of Alcohol Concern. Morning, Eric.
Good morning.
It does seem a little bit unfair, doesn't it, to penalise the majority of drinkers who are responsible by forcing them to pay more?
Well, as I understand it, what they're doing in Wickham is just taking the super strength stuff out off the shelves. These are sort of the lagers which are more than 6.5%, which frankly are not what the ordinary drinker drinks. These are drinks that are really only drunk by people who want to get drunk very quickly.
And what's wrong with getting drunk very quickly?
Well, I think people in and around High Wycombe are pretty clear about it, because what's wrong with it is simply that the people who are drinking these are causing a lot of problems on the streets for the police, for indeed for the local shops as well. So, as you said in your introduction, this has been tried in Ipswich, and they're all very pleased with the results there, because there's many fewer calls to the police, much less disruption on the streets, and generally a better place to be. So, I think that's what the people in High Wycombe are trying to achieve. And
this can only work, kind of, Eric, if you get every off-licence and every retailer on side, because if one says, no, I'm not taking part in this, then everybody will just go to that one store, won't they?
Well, clearly, ideally, that's the way it should work. Again, I mean, the experience in Ipswich is they didn't get all the retailers, but the vast majority, and it has had an impact. I mean, what you have to remember is some of the people who drink these very super strength drinks aren't the people who are likely to travel across the other side of town for the drink.
What kind of people are they?
Well, we're talking about vulnerable people here. I mean, these are people who often they're the street drinkers or the people who have quite a severe drinking problem. And the thing about it is, as I say, they're not great to have around your streets, but equally they are also very vulnerable. These are the people who also, like quite often, the victims of crime, the victims of antisocial behaviour as well. So it's a particular bit of the problem that we're that's being addressed here. I think perhaps the better thing to do to look at at the bigger picture, because we do have a problem with alcohol as a nation, and what we at Alcohol Concerned have been doing is trying to get local councils to think about it in the round, if you like. So we just recently produced a guide for local councillors, getting to think about a whole range of issues that might be of concern to them and to local people.
Alcohol is legal, and if people want to drink it, then they should be allowed to drink it. Can you blame all of these problems you're talking about on the streets purely on alcohol?
Well, clearly there are some problems in the street which aren't to do with alcohol, but if you look at crime figures, you'll find that the vast majority of the violent crimes come when people have had quite a bit to drink.
Eric, listen, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed. Eric Appleby, Chief Executive of Alcohol Concern. Well, if it's getting crime off the streets, that's got to be a good thing, hasn't it? Hasn't it? Or has it? If people want to buy these drinks, then they should. I'm trying to think. I was in High Wycombe at the weekend. I'm trying to think what kind of terrible antisocial behaviour I'm seeing. Can I make an assumption on Eric's part there that he was talking primarily about homeless people and alcoholics? That seemed to be what I was picking up. I may have misinterpreted it. Those super strong lagers. Tennent's Extra, is that one? I remember drinking Tennent's Extra as a young man. I remember shotgunning a can of Tennent's Extra on the way to a party so I wouldn't be playing catch-up. If you don't know what shotgunning is, I'm not going to go into it, but that was a lifetime ago. 08459 455 555. Making booze more expensive, getting rid of those cheap boozes and those super strength lagers. Is that really going to have an impact? Is it fair that responsible drinkers are being punished because there are a small minority, very small minority I would suggest, who are unable to cope with booze? 08459 455 555. I'm Iain Lee, this is BBC Three Counties Radio. Let's get the travel.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Cheers, Ian. Good morning. I'm looking at the camera on the M1 right now. Northbound, the M1 has been blocked. An overturned lorry, it is after fuel spill, and it's between Junction 8 at Hemel Hempstead and 9 at Redbourne. It's about 2 miles before Junction 9 on the northbound carriageway, on its side across all 4 lanes. The cab of the lorry is just resting on the concrete central barrier. That's likely to cause delays now throughout the morning. Thank you to Martin, who was the original person who called in with information on that one. London bound is pretty busy as everyone's slowing down to have a look, and the usual delays, of course, just not being helped by everyone peeping. Further southbound, there was an accident between Junction 11 and 10. We had a problem between the A505 and Luton Airport. That accident is now cleared, though. If you're going across to the M11, northbound, tyre debris on the road. This is just after Junction 8 at Bishop's Stortford. M25 anti-clockwise. An accident earlier at Waltham Abbey has now been moved out of the way. Lanes 1 and 2 were closed for a while there. It's open, but it's still very busy, with queues Waltham Abbey to Enfield going into and through the roadworks. The most important thing, a reminder, M1 northbound closed Junction 8 Hemel Hempstead to 9 at Redbourne because of an overturned lorry. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Half 6 headlines, it's Catherine Boyle. A Bedfordshire man is raising concerns about his local hospital provision for children, claiming his son was left with a deep head wound for 20 hours despite visiting both Milton Keynes and Stoke Mandeville Hospital. Police in Bedford are appealing for witnesses to a vicious attack on a couple out walking their dogs by the embankment. And Aylesbury's market traders claim the district council is allowing their stalls to fall into disrepair.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Manchester United returned to winning ways following Sunday's 4-1 derby defeat. Javier Hernandez goal just after half-time last night sealed a 1-0 win over Liverpool, sending United through to the 4th round of the Capital One Cup.
First corner of the second half. Played in, and it's into the net! Off Hernandez! Simple volley, poor marking by Liverpool inside the 6-yard box, and in the first minute of the second half, Manchester United take the lead.
Arsenal are also through after needing penalties to beat West Brom when the match finished 1-1 after extra time. Nacho Monreal scored the winning spot kick.
It's the Spanish left-back, Monreal. Here he comes, left-footed, straight down the middle. And Arsenal have won the penalty shootout at the Hawthorns.
So the draw in full for the fourth round of the Capital One Cup is as follows. Newcastle versus Manchester City, Tottenham v Hull, Sunderland against Southampton, Manchester United versus Norwich, Birmingham versus Stoke, Leicester against Fulham, Burnley versus West Ham and Arsenal versus Chelsea. Those ties will be played on October the 29th and 30th. Finally, Stephen Lee will appeal the 12-year ban that's effectively ended his snooker career. The sports world governing body found Lee guilty of 7 match-fixing charges and ordered him to pay £40,000 in costs. Neil Clegg, a former manager of Stephen Lee, who was alongside him at his match-fixing tribunal, says the player never stood a chance.
I know from speaking to him personally, he just had no money to defend himself. I think also there's a large element of naivety in Stephen going into it, also poorly prepared, but I don't think that warrants an automatic guilty verdict. His lack of finances incredibly hampered him and may come back and ultimately rue that side of matters.
And that's your latest news and sport. I'll be back with more at 7 o'clock.
His lack of finances may have hampered him. Also, the fact that he was cheating and getting paid money to take dives may have hampered him as well in his case.
Well, you may say that. So did the tribunal people.
So you can say that.
Well, I did say that.
Well, then what's your
problem? Where's his money, though, if he's taking all this money? Maybe that's all part of his cunning plan. I'm so torn. Nah, he's guilty.
We didn't want Queen. I don't know where that came from.
08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. It's one of those mornings. It's very dark this morning. It's dark out there, isn't it? There's a strange darkness out there, and it's creeping its way into the studio. Lots coming up between now and 7, including, is your local market looking a little bit shabby? They do, don't they? I can't remember the last time I bought something from the market. When was the last time you bought something from the market? Can you give us a quick call? Let me know when it was and what it was. 08459 455 555. We're all trying to rack our brains now, thinking of when we possibly last visited a local market. When did you go and what did you buy? We'll also be talking about, well, some trees have been chopped down. The wrong trees.
Hey Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. Remember to let her into your heart. Then you can start to make it better. Hey Jude, don't be afraid. You were made to go out and get her. The minute you let her under your skin, then you begin to make it better. And anytime you feel the pain, hey Jude, refrain. Don't carry the world up on your shoulders. For well you know that it's a fool who plays it cool by making his world a little colder. Hey Jude, don't let me down. You have found her, now go and get her. Remember to let her into your heart. Then you can start to make it better. So let it out and let it in. Hey
listen very, very carefully. You have to listen very carefully with excellent headphones. You can hear John Lennon saying a swear word in this. You can. Yeah, you can. He drops the F-bomb somewhere. You've got to listen really carefully. I can't remember where it is. It's somewhere in there, and then still that nonsense. I like that song. You don't hear that song very often unless you're at a Paul McCartney concert, and then you hear it for 25 minutes. Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Local markets. Can you give me a call? When was the last time that you went to your local market, and what did you buy? I'm trying to think. It's funny, isn't it? We don't really have the market culture in this country. Yet when I go abroad, I always go and have a little walk around the local market. I was in New York last year. I found myself in a local market and I had a little wander through it. When we go to Paris, I haven't been for ages, but we always find a nice market and you go and have a little look around it, and it's part of foreign culture. Here, they sell a few dishcloths, some plastic toys, and that's about it, isn't it? Or is it? I don't know. 08459 455 555. Well, traders at Aylesbury Market have told us that more could be done to give their market a facelift and get the customers shopping. They say the quality of their stalls are going downhill. The gazebos they stand under are tired and old. And when it rains, their stock gets wet and damaged. Well, here's what they told our reporter, Sophie Solaria.
Conditions of the market facility, the canopy, shocking. A lot of the time they haven't been put in the right position by people who don't seem to have an understanding of where they can put these things. So they'll put something right up a tree and you've got to move your own stall. The condition of the canopies themselves, okay, today we may have a reasonably decent one because it's got no holes in it. Last week, throwing it down with rain, and ours is full of holes. And clearly you have to think strategically about where you position things because you don't want to get rained upon. Clearly, I mean, as the market manager himself has said, more investment ideally should be made in the quality of the canopy and the flooring. If you look at the way these things are put up, you can see they're all over the place. You have some are so low, they're lower than your height, and they're falling and collapsing. But it nevertheless is clearly the nicer conditions you have, the more you will think about the market and any place you would work in.
Aylesbury, it's a funny one. I mean, I wish they'd take a little more care when they're putting out their the overhead bits here. Because, I mean, as I said, we are here every week, so it would be nice if we paid less.
How long have you been a market trader here at Aylesbury Market?
30 years.
And you say you've seen a lot of changes?
Yes, a lot of changes, yeah. Well, it was busy. There was always a demand for stalls. People wanted to trade on the market. People don't now. I mean, it's a struggle to get traders in. It's a struggle to keep the traders once they're here. It's not something that's easy. You really have got to put the effort in. It's not easy. It's not easy.
And so other factors involved that would make your life a lot easier?
Anything to keep the costs down, good quality stalls, the cheapest possible rent, free parking, plenty of advertising if it's advertised well, promoted well, and to get people into town.
In terms of your structure, I know that you've got tarpaulin up.
No, they're not as good as they could be, certainly. With winter coming on, it's always a worry. Obviously, if you're bad stalls, you're going to get ruined stock. It would be nice to promote the market as much as possible. There's a lot to be done.
We asked a number of the market traders to talk live on the show this morning, but they declined for fear of the repercussions if identified. Fear of the repercussions? Meanwhile, Aylesbury Vale District Council strongly dispute the claims and say they do all they can to help the market. Well, we'll be speaking to the council a little bit later on in the programme. Markets, they're kind of got a bit of an old-fashioned concept. We don't really need them, do we? With Amazon and with these Tesco mega stores and all of these kind of things. We can get everything, dare I say it, a little bit cheaper elsewhere. Yes, you may possibly lose the human interaction and the personal touch. But I don't think people necessarily want the human interaction and the personal touch anymore, do they? Do they? 08459 455 555. Am I doing markets a great disservice here? I need your help on this one. The last time you went to a market, what did you buy? And why do you get stuff from the market? Is it the personal touch that you get from the market traders? Is the quality better? Is it cheaper? What is it? Is it the atmosphere? Why would you use a market and not order something online or go to your biggest Sainsbury's or go to a shopping centre? Why? I need your help working this one out, please, dear listener. And maybe by 9 o'clock we'll have reached a conclusion. We can type up our answers, put them in an envelope, and then send them off to somebody. 08459 455 555. I don't know who that person would be who'd be lucky enough to receive that letter, but you never know. Somebody might. It's 6:44. It's BBC Three Counties Radio. We've got... who have we got? Someone's calling in. Who's this? Hello, who's this? Dom.
My name's Dom.
Hello, Dom. What can I do for you?
Yeah, just to let you know what the M1's like at the moment.
Not good, is it?
Not very good at all. I mean, there's 3 lorry pile-up, as you said, across the 4 lanes.
Yep.
One of the cabs is actually on the barrier, so no doubt it'll cause problems southbound as well.
Oh, blimey. And what's the traffic like, or have you got past that now?
I've gone past that, but even as I came down there, it was going to be chocolate. Well, northbound's non-existent, it's just not moving anywhere, and southbound is actually causing major problems.
Dom, thank you for being our eyes and ears on the road this morning. It does sound like a bit of a nightmare on the M1. Let's hope that nobody has been seriously injured. Let's get the latest travel now with Adam and find out exactly what's going on.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yeah, thanks very much to Dom for that. I'm looking at the cameras now. Well, we've got the lorry that's overturned completely blocking the motorway on that northbound side, and because of that they've now implemented a full closure of the northbound carriageway from junction 8 at Hemel Hempstead up to junction 9 at Redbourne. So about 2 miles before junction 9 is where the lorry's on its side across all 4 lanes. The cab's resting on the central barrier. Delays are to be expected throughout the morning, and it's going to cause issues for people who are trying to get up to Luton, of course. Going London bound past there, you've got incredibly slow moving traffic from junction 9 down toward junction 7. It's probably tailing back a little bit further than that now, looking at some of the cameras further back up the motorway. Now, we've got problems elsewhere as well. The A1 northbound is closed. This is roadworks between Biggleswade North and the Sandy Roundabout. Roadworks have overrun. They're hoping it'll all be finished and reopened at about 7 this morning. It should have opened around 6. The M11 northbound, tyre debris on the road. It's just after junction 8 at Bishop's Stortford. And on the M25, anti-clockwise, you've got queues from junction 26 Waltham Abbey to 25 at Enfield. Now, I've just had an update on the M1 situation. Of course, it's the northbound carriageway that's closed from junction 8 to 9. The queues are pretty much back as far as the M25 now this morning, so that's a very long delay there. If you can update us, if you're stuck in those queues and you can see what's going on, our number's 08459 455 555. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Adam. Morning, it's 6:47. It's Thursday, the 26th of September. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A Bedfordshire man is raising concerns about local hospital provision for children, claiming his son was left with a deep head wound for 20 hours. Police in Bedford are appealing for witnesses to a vicious attack on a couple out walking their dogs by the embankment. And in sport, Manchester United beat Liverpool 1-0 to go through to the 4th round of the Capital One Cup. Coming up, the wrong trees have been chopped down in Bedfordshire. Get the latest after the weather.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, very good morning to you. Well, we're going to start to see some fresher air today. In fact, towards northern areas of the three counties, we've already got it. So we're starting the day off on a cooler note, 11-12 degrees Celsius. There are a few mist patches around, but they're tending to be concentrated towards southern parts. Towards the north, we've got the clearer air already. So just about everywhere staying dry today. We might just see a few very, very light showers, perhaps over parts of Buckinghamshire at times, but generally they are going to fizzle out. Most places are looking dry. Lots of brightness and sunshine developing. It's going to be another nice day. And by the time we get to the afternoon, then we're looking at temperatures up to 17 or perhaps 18 degrees Celsius, 64 in Fahrenheit, but without the humid feeling that we've been getting in the air recently, feeling much fresher. And you'll notice that tonight again. It is going to be a cooler night. Temperatures in the rural spots dropping into single figures, holding in the towns at around 11, possibly 12 degrees Celsius. And then tomorrow, lots more autumn sunshine on the way without the mist through the morning. By the time we get to the weekend, southern areas could see some heavy showers at times. I think northern areas are going to stay mostly bright and breezy. That's the forecast.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Elizabeth. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. Markets, Chaz and Dave, and the wrong trees being chopped down.
Oh, is it more, too much more than a pretty face? It's so strange the way he talks, it's a disgrace. Well, I know I've been out of style for a short while, but I don't care how cold you are, I'm coming home soon. I'm gonna make you a star, yeah. Well, he say he's into his music, but I don't believe it. He just doesn't seem to understand the rock media. Well, I know I'm not super hip, and I'm liable to take a slip. But I don't care how cold you are, I'm coming home soon. I'm gonna make you a star, yeah, yeah. We gonna make you a star. We gonna make you a star. Oh, is it more, too much more than a pretty face? I don't think so. It's so strange the way he's talking, it's a disgrace. Well, I know I've been out of style for a short while, but you see, I don't care how cold you are, I'm coming home soon. I'm gonna make you a star, yeah, 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 yeah. We gonna make you a star. We gonna make you a star.
I like a bit of David Essex. He's good a bit, David Essex. Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Now, residents in Bedfordshire, in a Bedfordshire village, want their green restored to its former glory after a local authority felled 7 mature trees by mistake. Central Bedfordshire Council has apologised for cutting down the Aylesbury prune trees at Church Green in Tottenham, blaming a miscommunication between the council and the contractor. Take that to mean someone muffed up. Someone pointed at the wrong trees. But that is little comfort for some of the villagers living by the green, as Karen Maslin told our reporter, Ewan Duncan.
Devastation, to be honest. They've been here for many, many years. I've lived here for 15 years, and I came home from work and they'd just gone overnight, just disappeared. And it was fairly obvious that they had never been particularly maintained by the council, and there were a couple of dead branches and things like that from time to time, but they were all still producing fruit. And we have quite significant wildlife here badgers, bats, foxes, all of which you could see most evenings actually on the green, because the badgers would eat the fruit and the bats were attracted to the fruit trees as well. And since the trees have gone, nothing. It's just devastation, really.
So it's had a massive impact on the whole green?
Massive. It's unrecognisable. It just used to be as it was, the original beautiful village green. The church still use it regularly for church services, particularly at Easter. They have a parade that comes round from the church and took place under one of the trees, and well, that's gone.
Very upsetting for you.
Yeah, I understand that. I hadn't realised, I must admit previously, but they were Aylesbury prune trees, which are supposed to be protected in this area. We're one of the few villages that still have any of those particular trees left. And this was one of the areas where there were, at one stage, 8 or 9 of the trees where you could still see them visible, and now they've gone forever.
Did it all happen too quickly to prevent it?
There was absolutely no communication or discussion about it. None. The tree that was opposite my property particularly, I had planted some bulbs around the base of the tree when my granddad passed away, and they were a memorial for my granddad. I assume that they won't come up now that the tree's been completely dug out, so it was a bit personal as well. I don't expect the council to know that, that's not their fault, but had we had some communication about it and some prior warning, we could have done something, we could have talked to them about it, but we just came home and they were gone.
We can talk now to Central Bed's Conservative councillor Marion Mustoe, who's a ward member for Eaton Bray, lives near the Green, and is also on the Chilterns Conservation Board. Bit of a mix-up here, isn't there, Marion?
Oh, there certainly was. It was so disappointing. There was a problem with one of the trees. It had died, and it needed replacing or just felling. And also a branch had come off a large tree. So I got in touch with the Estates Department and just asked them to come and take the dead tree away and just have a look at them and see how they, just to check them over, really, which has happened. That's fine. And then I came home from shopping one morning and there was one tree left. I could not believe it. It was so disappointing. I mean, I was shocked. Everyone was shocked around here, and it looks absolutely dreadful now. There's nothing there. It's got no character anymore. The green. Anyway, from now we are going to have trees put in their place, and we hope, with our fingers crossed, there'll be Aylesbury prunes. That's what everyone wants around here, and we have been promised that we will get.
Whose fault is this, Marion? Who can we get angry with?
Oh well. The Estates Department, I guess.
Right.
But it was a mistake. They have made their apologies, and there's nothing that can be done. The trees can't come back. We just have to replace them, that's all.
Are you happy that this will be solved and resolved to a suitable level?
Absolutely. It'll have to be.
Otherwise you're going to kick off.
Oh, yes, we should be very cross otherwise.
Marion, listen, yes. I wish you the best of luck. I'm sure it will all get sorted, and it's frustrating when these things happen, but onwards and upwards.
Yes. We're definitely going to have Aylesbury prunes back.
Fantastic.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Very nice to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. Well, that was Marion Mustoe on the Chilterns Conservation Board.
God save Donald Duck, vaudeville and variety. We are the Desperate Dan Appreciation Society. God save strawberry jam and all the different varieties. Preserving the old ways from being abused. Protecting the new ways for me and for you. What more can we do? Society. God save Mrs. Moore, a good old Mother Riley. We are the Custard Pie Appreciation Consortium. God save the George Cross and all those who are awarded that. We are
couldn't find the Kinks version. I can only apologise, but Kate Rusby, you'll do just as well. This is BBC Three Counties Radio. Let's get the travel now with Adam Glynn.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 closed northbound. An overturned lorry. It's left a fuel spill behind it. This is junction 8 at Hemel Hempstead to 9 at Redbourne. Congestion is now back to the M25. Lorry still blocking all 4 lanes with its cab on the central barrier, and it's likely to be ongoing all morning. The London-bound side past the scene of there looking incredibly busy, with delays tailing back as far as junction 11 at the A505. Across to the A1 and northbound it's closed because of overrunning roadworks. This is between Biggleswade North and the Sandy roundabout. The M11 northbound, we had tyre debris on the road at Stansted and Bishop Stortford. That has now been removed. If you're going across into Northamptonshire around Brackley, the A422 has been blocked by an accident. A car and a lorry involved. They're doing the recovery work between the A43 and Westbury. M25 anti-clockwise queuing M11 through to the Enfield in the roadworks, and slow Maple Cross to the M40. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Adam. Coming up after 7, we pick up the slack a little bit. Got some good stuff. Stick with us. Trust me, I'm a doctor.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock. I'm Catherine Boyle. The headlines: local NHS provision criticised, cheap booze crackdown in High Wycombe, and claims Aylesbury Market's being left to rot.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
A Bedfordshire man is raising concerns about local NHS provision for children, claiming his son was left with a deep head wound for 20 hours despite being taken to 2 different hospitals. Following recent cuts in services at Bedford, Rob Ferguson took 10-year-old Charlie to Milton Keynes. But when he arrived, he says he was told the wound was too deep for staff there to treat and he should go to Stoke Mandeville. Milton Keynes said they'd phone ahead, but when the family arrived, Stoke Mandeville knew nothing about them and told them to come back in the morning.
Really, we needn't even have bothered to go into Stoke Mandeville as far as I'm concerned, because we were in exactly the same position then. He said, you might want to sleep in his room, and if there's any signs of this, bring him back and we'll do a CT scan. And, obviously bringing him back is well over an hour's drive for us. So I thought that was a pretty bizarre thing. And why would they not just admit him for the night, bearing in mind he was going to be treated there the next day, where, he could be monitored properly for any of those symptoms.
More on this coming up next with Iain Lee. Cheap alcohol is set to be taken off sale in High Wycombe's town centre shops. The District Council and Thames Valley Police are hoping to replicate the success of a similar scheme in Ipswich, where crime and antisocial behaviour fell as a result. The idea has the backing of the Chief Executive of alcohol concern, Eric Appleby.
I mean, what you have to remember is some of the people who drink these very super strength drinks aren't the people who are likely to travel across the other side of town. Often they're the street drinkers or the people who have quite a severe drinking problem. They're not great to have around your streets, but equally they are also very vulnerable. These are the people who also, like quite often, the victims of crime, the victims of antisocial behaviour as well.
A taxi driver has been attacked and robbed in Luton. The 27-year-old cabbie was called to collect a passenger in Swanmead on Friday night, but when he arrived, he was assaulted by 2 men who got into his vehicle. The first is described as mixed race, the second was white, and both were in their early to mid-20s. MPs have issued a damning report on the way government awarded contracts for extending high-speed broadband to rural areas. The Public Accounts Committee says BT's exploited what amounts to a monopoly position as the provider of the technology. The government's insisted the taxpayer is getting value for money, but the Labour MP Margaret Hodge, who chairs the committee, says a better run contest for contracts would have had better results. Traders at Aylesbury Market have told BBC Three Counties Radio that more needs to be done to improve their working conditions. Aylesbury Vale District Council strongly dispute claims that stalls are being allowed to fall into disrepair and say they're doing all they can to support the market. In sport, Javier Hernandez upstaged Luis Suarez on the Liverpool striker's return to action following his 10-match ban. Hernandez scored the only goal to give Manchester United a 1-0 Capital One Cup third-round win over Liverpool. And the weather, dry with sunny spells and a top temperature of 18 degrees Celsius. That's 64 degrees Fahrenheit. Get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties.
Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. 3 minutes past 7. It's virtually October. It's virtually October. Who would have thunk such a thing? Lots coming up in the next hour of the show, including a 10-year-old boy was left with his skull exposed for more than 20 hours. His dad is not happy. There's a picture on the Facebook page. Go and have a look. It's some wound that young man has suffered, let me tell you. Local markets are struggling. When was the last time you used your local market, and what did you buy? And we've sent Justin Dealey out to play the new Chaz and Dave record to members of the public. What do you think of it? Is it any good? We'll have Chaz on before the end of the show. Facebook.com/BBC3CR. You can send me a text, 81333. Start your text 3CR. Or you can give me a call, 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Do go to the Facebook page because you can see the picture of the young man involved in the next story, and it really is... It's a pretty horrific incident. A father from Bedfordshire has criticised the level of NHS care available for children locally after his 10-year-old son was left with a head wound that exposed his skull for more than 20 hours. Rob Ferguson from Harold says confused messages about children's services at Bedford Hospital meant he went straight to Milton Keynes, only to be told to go to Stoke Mandeville. But things didn't stop there. Rob joins me on the line now. Morning, Rob.
Good morning, Ian. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. So, Charlie's 10 years old, is he?
He is, yeah, he's 10, yeah.
What happened?
Well, basically, he was out on his bike, like a normal 10-year-old. The chain came off, he went over the handlebars and basically smashed his head on a picket fence. It was pretty nasty. He was out unconscious for about a minute.
Ooh, and I'm looking at the picture now. That's not just a graze, that's a full gash.
Yeah, it's the hospital told us that you've basically got 5 layers there, 3 layers of skin and then tissue and stuff, sinew. And he'd gone through all those layers, and they pointed out to that's his skull. So it was, it was an exposed skull.
And of course, we all know if anyone has a head injury, it's always very important. But if they've been knocked out, even for just a minute, that's serious stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because you've got the risk of internal bleeding on the brain.
Now, you live in Harold, 5 miles away from Bedford Hospital. Why didn't you go there first of all?
Well, I mean, obviously, we've all heard about the issues at Bedford Hospital, and there's no... In my view, there's no clear message about the situation, and the overwhelming message that is out there is that it's closed to children. That's my understanding. And obviously, in the heat of an emergency, I didn't want to take the risk of driving in there only to find that I'd wasted whatever it would be, half an hour, when I could have gone straight to Milton Keynes. So I chose to go that route.
So you made the decision to go to Milton Keynes, and I think they probably would have seen you at Bedford. I think they still do have A&E for kids.
I am hearing that now, but as I say, there was that confusion about...
Exactly. When you've got to make a decision instantly about your kid, you don't want to run the risk of turning up only to be sent somewhere else. I completely understand.
Yeah.
So what time did you get to Milton Keynes?
We would have got to Milton Keynes around about, I would say, 7.
Okay, and what happened there? You rushed into A&E and...
Yeah, you go into A&E and it's the usual process, which is never a quick one at any hospital, as we all know. So, you sign in and you see the triage nurse, which to be fair, we did see fairly quickly. But, I mean, the main point is that we were there for over 3 hours at Milton Keynes.
Wow.
And we left there with the wound dressed and but still unstitched. There was no one in what is a major city hospital. There was no one there able to stitch that wound.
Now, listen, I have this is an interesting one because I've come across this. I sent my eldest to hospital was to have stitches recently. It wasn't quite as serious as that, but it was a nasty cut. And the hospital we went to said, "We can't do it here. You're going to have to go somewhere else." Right. Which seems incredible to me that there isn't someone there that can do stitches, particularly with a serious head injury.
Absolutely. We're not talking about small surgery here. It's a massive city hospital.
Yeah. And so they after 3 hours, they dressed it, and what did they say then?
And they did some X-rays, which is another interesting point, which I'll tell you about. But they did some X-rays, and they basically printed off some directions, said you need to go to Stoke Mandeville.
Oh, nice, okay.
Which I'd never been to, and I did at that point say, is there any way this can be done at Bedford? Because going to Stoke Mandeville is completely further in the wrong direction for us.
Yeah.
And it's getting late. He's 10 years old. He's already getting tired. So by this time it's sort of 11:30. But no, we had to go there. So they insisted we had to go there and we had to go tonight, and they would take care of us. But they said that they would phone ahead and give them all the details of what happened so far, and so they would be prepared for us when we got there.
And did that happen?
No.
Ah, okay.
So we got to Stoke Mandeville, and obviously I tried to explain that they should have all the notes, and it's been forwarded over. We've been referred by Milton Keynes. And they just said, no, we don't have any notes. You've got to start the process again.
You've got to start all over again.
So you've got to go and see the triage nurse and do all the things we've already done, the pulse and the blood pressure and what happened. And at that point, they didn't look at the wound until the consultant came down sometime later. But they did take the X-ray disc that I gave them, and it turned out that the X-rays were unreadable anyway, so they had no information from that disc.
Now, listen, you're a dad. Your boy has got a serious head injury. You don't quite know how serious. How on earth were you feeling?
Well, obviously getting more and more frustrated, but you kind of hope that you're in the hands of the professionals. And I don't blame anybody individually at any of these hospitals, but it's obviously a reflection on the state of the whole system. But annoyed and still very worried, mainly for my boy.
So how long did it take to get things sorted at Stoke Mandeville?
Well, we didn't actually get things sorted at Stoke Mandeville that night. So what happened next was the consultant came down, looked at the wound and said, oh, yeah, that is very nasty. We don't actually have anyone here either to stitch that wound. So all they did at Stoke Mandeville, apart from keeping us there for a further number of hours, was clean it and redress it and sent us off home in the same state, really, as we'd left Milton Keynes Hospital. And to add insult to injury, he said that, we had a look at the disc he gave us for the X-rays, and it's actually unreadable, so we don't actually know what they say. And furthermore, he sort of casually informed me that because he was knocked out, and this is what we mentioned earlier, there was a slight chance of internal bleeding on the brain, which is obviously very serious. And he said, when you go home, I suggest you keep an eye on him and look for the signs of, such as vomiting or drowsiness. Now, bear in mind that we wouldn't get home till after 2 a.m, and obviously he would be pretty drowsy anyway.
Yes.
It's a pretty stupid thing to say. So I would have thought that, really, with hindsight, I didn't think of it at the time, but perhaps he should have been admitted that night so that they could keep an eye on him in that environment, and he was to be treated the next day at Stoke Mandeville. That's what was being offered, so it would make all the sense in the world for him to stay there.
Right, so the most important thing at the moment is, how is Charlie?
He is fine. He's back home now. So he went back the next day. We had to go back for an appointment, which they gave me the caveat that it might be cancelled because they were very busy.
Oh, okay.
But as it turned out, we got the appointment, we took him in, and he was actually given a general anaesthetic, so he was actually put under.
Right.
So it was a fairly major job, but they stitched him up. He's off school for a couple of days, but he is actually raring to get back out playing football and rugby, and he's in
And I hope you've confiscated his bicycle, Rob.
Yes.
Good for you. Well done.
Myself.
Well, that's good. That's good. I'm glad that he's well and he's healthy. That's the main thing. Have you made a formal complaint about what happened?
I haven't, but I mean, I put this post on Facebook on my page, as people do, just a bit of a vent, and I thought it was an interesting story, and it's sort of taken on a life of its own, and I've been contacted by various people that have suggested various things, and I may follow it up, just so that if we can get a clear message about what's happening at Bedford, that's one thing. But just maybe to stop someone else going through the same process, it's very worrying.
You're right, and it is important that people do know that if you have an emergency with your child, you can take them to Bedford Hospital. It's interesting that you didn't feel fully informed on that, and that would imply a failing on their part slightly. But we have been told, and we've mentioned it on this show, that Milton Keynes has the capacity, supposedly, to deal with the children who can't be seen at Bedford Hospital. But you dispute that.
That was the message that I'd got, and that's why I went there. They certainly weren't able to stitch that wound. That's all I can say. They were very nice, and they were very good at dressing the wound and so on. But they couldn't stitch the wound, and that's obviously what we needed.
Rob, listen, I'm glad the boy's all right. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. Rob Ferguson from Harold, who had to wait more than 20 hours for his poor 10-year-old son cracked his head open. You could see the skull. If you want to go and have a look at the picture and have your comment, facebook.com/BBC3CR. We did ask Milton Keynes and Stoke Mandeville hospitals to join us on the programme this morning. Both declined. But Milton Keynes Hospital say they dealt correctly with Charlie by referring him to Stoke Mandeville as he needed specialist care. And Stoke Mandeville has told us they are sorry that Mr Ferguson is unhappy with the care provided to his son at the hospital and encourage him to contact them so they can investigate the matter. Now, we're hearing a lot of traffic on the M1 today. There's been a very, very nasty accident. Mick's in Harpenden. Morning, Mick. Oh, Mick, good morning.
Good morning.
Mick, the problems have spread from the M1 now, have they?
Well, apparently so. I'm just guessing at that. But the road from Luton to Harpenden is almost block solid from the Who all the way down.
Oh, blimey.
Yes.
So this is probably...
half an hour to 40 minutes to get from the Who to Harpenden.
Oh, you mean Luton Who? For a second I thought you meant the rock group The Who. I wondered what was going on. That would be exciting. Pete Townsend directing traffic while Roger Daltrey was in fluorescence. So this is this is more than likely the overspill from the nightmare on the M1, isn't it?
I reckon so, because when I was coming over the hump at the airport roundabout there, I had a look down and the M1 doesn't seem to be moving in any direction.
Mick, thank you very much indeed. That's Mick in Harpenden, who says he's manic. It's manic around Luton Who because of the M1. Just to recap, the M1 northbound is closed around junction 8 and 9. We can get the latest on that now by going to Adam Glynn in the travel department.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Cheers, Ian. Yes, M1 northbound closed off, junction 8 at Hemel Hempstead through to 9 at Redbourne. Congestion there is all the way back to the M25, so it is pretty solid essentially on that northbound carriageway right the way from the M25 up to the closure, and you're being sent off the A414. Your diversion route, you follow the hollow triangle signs on the road signs. It'll take you along the A414, the 4147, the B487, the A5183 into Redbourne, and then you can rejoin the M1 at junction 9. As you'd imagine, all of that diversion route is looking very, very busy. Looking at the cameras on the M1, the lorry is still currently blocking all 4 lanes. They haven't been able to move it even slightly yet. The London-bound carriageway incredibly slow past the scene as everyone is slowing down to look, so I'm not surprised that Mick saw it solid both directions. It's very, very slow on that London-bound side with delays back as far as junction 11 at the A505. And the A1081 where he was stuck. Heavy traffic as you come down through Harpenden with delays tailing back toward Luton. On the M25 anti-clockwise, there's a queue into the roadworks. It's busy Maple Cross to the M40. On the clockwise side, we're hearing reports of a rolling roadblock being put in force around junction 21 at the M1. The A1 is still closed northbound from Biggleswade North to the Sandy roundabout because of overrunning roadworks, and in Brackley the A422 is blocked by an accident. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Adam. Morning, it's 7:16. It's Thursday the 26th of September. I'm Iain Lee, and these are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A Bedfordshire man is raising concerns about local NHS provision for children, claiming his son was left with a deep head wound for 20 hours despite being taken to 2 different hospitals. Cheap alcohol is set to be taken off sale in High Wycombe's town centre shops as part of a crackdown on antisocial behaviour by the District Council and Thames Valley Police. In sport, Manchester United beat the Liverpool football team 1-0 to go through to the 4th round of the Capital One Cup. Coming up, would you drink less if supermarkets didn't sell cheap, strong booze? 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio. Nick Coffer.
On Friday afternoon, I'm off to the St Albans Beer and Cider Festival.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
It's not just about tasting all the wonderful real ales. I'll also bring you live Zimbabwean gospel music, comedy hypnosis, I'm worried about this bit, and I'll be getting all rhythmical by joining a garden jamming percussion group.
Nick Coffer.
Listen to all the sights and sounds from the St Albans Beer and Cider Festival, Friday from midday, right here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, this is Iain Lee. BBC Three Counties Radio, 08459 455 555. Wickham District Council has teamed up with Thames Valley Police to get major off-licence stores to stop selling cheap super-strength alcohol. They decided to take on the idea after a similar scheme became a success in Ipswich last year. The council says it's gone well so far, reducing antisocial behaviour, with the majority of retailers agreeing to take part and not to sell cheap booze. Well, joining me now is Conservative councillor Clive Harris, Deputy Cabinet Member for Environment at Wickham District Council. Clive, why have the council decided to get involved with this?
Well, as you said in your introduction, there's something that Ipswich rolled out, and it did improve a reduction in crime and disorder generally throughout the town. And it was followed up further by Westminster Council, who also have seen this. So, from what we can see at the moment, there is a perceived improvement, and as it's also a voluntary scheme, so it's worked very well.
So, what exactly is it? How does it work?
We went along to major retailers. We carried out a consultation with the town, with local groups, and requested that perhaps they consider not selling this super-strength alcohol, specifically white cider. And in the majority of cases, they agreed to do so. Obviously, there are one or two reluctant parties who are worried that if they didn't offer this alcohol, then other retailers would, and they'd lose a bit of business. But generally, it's been very well supported. And as I say, the perceived improvement in the levels of crime and disorder in the town caused by alcohol appears to have dropped slightly. So everything we can do to improve the situation, we're willing to try.
How long has this been running for in High Wycombe?
It's only been running since April, but we have other measures in place, such as the reduction in selling strong beers in single cans, because the problem we have is that we have a small group in the community who are what we call street drinkers, and we're trying to make alcohol less readily available to them, because they're the unfortunate members of society that sadly turn to alcohol when other things aren't good. So we want to try and improve things for them and also reduce the impact on their health.
Well, is it not punishing them a little bit, though? If they have got an alcohol dependency, you're punishing them, surely, aren't you? By meaning they'll have to go and buy different, more expensive booze. They're not going to stop drinking just because they can't get white cider.
No, they're not. But it's what we're trying to do is we're trying to improve things for the community as a whole. And unfortunately, this particular group, make the town centres less inviting. But I have to say that we've seen a reduction in the numbers.
What impact has it had? What impact has it had?
I mean, overall, the measure's only been going since April, and we won't know fully until we've had a chance to actually calculate exactly what sort of improvements there have been. We've been able to sit down with the police and check the figures with them. But it is definitely perceived that we're seeing less street drinkers in the middle of the town, which improves the atmosphere for shoppers and business people visiting the town, and that's a good thing.
Are the big supermarkets on board?
The big supermarkets in the main are on board. We have fantastic support from Sainsbury's. The Sainsbury's don't stock white cider anyway. So there's a bit of a negative there. But no, in general, it's supported by the majority of the...
Because if the big supermarkets and Sainsbury's don't sell it, if some of the other... I mean, I don't drink, so I don't know who sells what these days. But if for example, a Tesco's doesn't come into this scheme, then it renders it useless, doesn't it? Because, yes, you won't be able to go to cheap booze on the high street or any other smaller off-licence, but they'll just wander up to Tesco's, won't they? Or wherever else is selling it.
I mean, water always finds the easiest course, of course. And we can't stop that, but we can only do our best to help the situation. And as much support as we have, it's clear to us from what we're seeing at the moment. As I say, we haven't measured the figures, but at the moment there's definitely a perception that the situation is improving.
Final question, Clive. When will you be measuring the figures? When will you have some hard data?
I would anticipate it'd be after a year, okay. And then we can sit down thoroughly with our partners, have a good look at it. But I mean, it's like Tesco say, every little helps.
Clive, thank you very much indeed. Councillor Clive Harris, Deputy Cabinet Member for Environment at Wickham District Council. Well, Justin Dealey, who... well, Justin, you may be offended at this. I know on these cold winter mornings, you love a little bit of Buckfast or White Lightning to keep you warm, don't you?
No, don't be silly. Do you know, I've always said this. I think, the price of booze in this country is ridiculously cheap, and it may sound a bit weird to say this, but personally, I would prefer to go to a pub/bar, call it what you want, where the alcohol is more expensive. Because,
Sorry?
Yes, because...
Well, you're the only person in the country that thinks that.
I'll tell you why, and I sound really snobby here, but, some of these places you go to, and outside the bar, all-day drinks for £2 for a pint of lager, you just don't get the sort of atmosphere that I'm looking for. I'm not going into a pub to drink 10 pints of lager to get smashed and then walk home. That's not me.
Let me put this in a way that I think you're trying to say, but you wouldn't dare on the radio. You get scum going to those places. Is that what you're trying to say?
I wouldn't say scum.
Low life.
I wouldn't say low life. I'm just saying somebody who likes to drink a lot more lager than me and then stumble out of the pub and walk home. That's not exactly the sort of night out that I'm looking for.
And you think that booze is too cheap in this country?
Absolutely.
Why? Why?
I'll tell you a good example of this. The other night I was in the Old Town in Hemel Hempstead. You got one bar where outside there were the posters saying £2 all day for certain bottles of booze. In that pub, people have been in there all day because it was cheap. You go further down the road...
They're promoting the local economy.
You go further down the road and the alcohol is more expensive, and you do get a better class of person that goes inside that pub.
Not if someone like you is going, Justin. I would completely dispute that. And the fact that these people, these businesses, these pubs that are struggling at the moment are doing something to stimulate the local economy, to keep their businesses afloat, I think something like that should be applauded.
You say it should be applauded, but, you got to think about the local councils, the local police force, it's going to cost money. If you've got people sitting in a pub drinking cheap booze all day, getting absolutely smashed, the chances are they're going to be walking home and they're going to be causing problems.
No.
Absolutely, Ian, I've seen it.
Justin, I will not allow that gross generalisation on this show. So you're saying the majority of the people in those boozers, where it's two for the price of one or whatever, they're going to be causing trouble?
Not causing trouble. It depends what you mean by trouble.
You said the majority will be causing trouble.
I'm just telling you this from my personal experience. If I go into a pub where people have been drinking cheap booze all day long, I feel under threat, and I'm sure that people listening to this would back me up on that.
08459 455 555. Are you a girl like Justin, or do you? No, I'm teasing slightly, but I do. Anyway, listen, you've been out speaking to people on the street about this, haven't you?
Yes, I mean, you're talking primarily this morning about super strength alcohol, but I have been asking people if they would drink less if supermarkets didn't sell cheap booze. Here's what people had to say.
No. No, it wouldn't. No.
I mean, you say that so strongly. It's an absolute categoric no, isn't it?
It wouldn't, because if you want to have a drink, you're going to have a drink, aren't you? Regardless of the price. If you want to buy a bottle of wine, if it's £4 or if it's £6, you're going to buy a bottle of wine.
It's like cigarettes, isn't it? They keep putting them up, but I still keep smoking.
Probably not. Probably not. I enjoy a drink after I finish work every day. I generally buy a 4-pack of beers, and I will generally go for probably one of the premium brands anyway, which aren't particularly cheap no matter where you buy them.
So you're drinking 4 cans of lager after work every single day?
About 5 days out of 7, I would say.
Okay.
I'm an engineer. I work in very difficult, dirty and dangerous conditions, and I feel when I finish work I deserve a drink.
I presume you would class yourself as a responsible drinker?
Indeed, yes. I'm not the sort who would go to a pub and sit there and drink 7 or 8 pints and then try and wander myself home.
So if the price was increased, would that make you feel angry? Because as far as you're concerned, you've done nothing wrong. You're having a drink after work every night and you're causing absolutely no trouble whatsoever.
I would. If it was just to put up the price to try and prevent people from drinking on the streets, then I would indeed be quite annoyed, because that doesn't particularly affect me. Though I would say that I do agree with this local policy at the moment, which is being introduced around the country, of banning super strength alcohol from being sold in supermarkets and corner shops, because I think primarily that's where the problems occur. Very cheap, super strong alcohol.
What you're doing by stopping super cheap alcohol being sold is you are penalising those with the medical condition of alcoholism, because they will still want to get that same hit, so they will spend more money buying more booze.
I know that.
You're penalising people who have an illness.
You are, but, if you look at that, you're looking at a very small minority, aren't you, compared to people who just like to go out, buy a load of booze and just get smashed for fun. So it's a very small minority compared to those people.
Justin, always good. Have you got a lot of positive feedback on that Chaz and Dave song yet?
Absolutely, yep. The new Chaz and Dave song, Two Worlds Collide. I'm out on the streets this morning with my Bush Ghetto Blaster, getting reaction, and that reaction will be live on your show after 8 o'clock this morning.
Thank you, Justin, and fingers crossed we will have Chaz from Chaz and Dave on the show a little bit later on. That's what we're all aiming for. It's a nightmare out there, kids, and I don't just mean life, although, to be honest, it can be at times. I'm talking about the M1 and the surrounding areas. Been a terrible accident on there. Let's find out the latest. Let's get the travel news now with Adam.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 northbound still closed. This is the lorry that's overturned, and it's left quite a large fuel spill in its wake. They're trying to mop that up now, and they're in the process of recovering the lorry. The M1 is shut from Junction 8 at Hemel Hempstead to Junction 9 at Redbourne. The congestion is pretty solid back as far as the M25 at Junction 6A. It's not going to be reopened probably until after rush hour. They're still doing the recovery work right now. It's looking incredibly slow. Your diversion officially is to follow the hollow triangle signals. Signs will take you from Junction 8 via the A414, the 4147, along the B487 and the 5183 into Redbourne, and then you can rejoin the M1 at Junction 9. Of course, this is causing big problems on the London-bound side as well. Slow traffic from Junction 11 down to 7, and the A1081 in Harpenden very, very slow too as you go past the M1 and down into Harpenden. We've also got delays on the official diversion, so you can expect the A414 to be very heavy. We have had reports that people were trying to walk along the hard shoulder of the M1 with their suitcases in an attempt to get to Luton Airport. Well, first off, it's another 4 miles beyond there, but also the police have been turning people round once they get as far as the scene of the accident, and they are actively preventing pedestrians from trying to get past the accident. No news yet on when the traffic is going to be released either, but we will keep you updated. Across to the A1 now. This is closed northbound because of overrunning roadworks from Biggleswade North to the Sandy roundabout. The M25 clockwise, the exit slip to the M1 has been closed, and that's causing congestion back to Kings Langley. And anti-clockwise on the M25, they've got a rolling roadblock in place at Junction 21A, which is of course around the M1 as well. M25 is also busy from the M11 through to Enfield and Maple Cross to the M40. If you can update us, please give us a call on 08459 455 555. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. With the 7:30 headlines, I'm Catherine Boyle. A Bedfordshire man is raising concerns about local NHS provision for children, claiming his son was left with a deep head wound for 20 hours despite being taken to 2 different hospitals. Cheap alcohol is set to be taken off sale in High Wycombe's town centre shops in a bid to crack down on antisocial behaviour. And a taxi driver has been attacked and robbed by 2 men in Luton after being called to a pickup in Swanmead on Friday night.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Javier Hernandez scored the only goal as Manchester United returned to winning ways, beating Liverpool 1-0 to reach the 4th round of the Capital One Cup last night. Manchester United manager David Moyes is hoping the striker can push for a regular starting place.
Everybody tells me about the goals he scores, and I saw one tonight, and they tell me that he always gets his goals throughout the season, and if he keeps doing that, then it gives you problems. We've got good strikers here, but we need pressure and we need goals. We need to keep scoring more goals.
At the Hawthorns, a very youthful Arsenal side eventually beat West Brom 4-3 on penalties to reach the 4th round of the League Cup after the match ended 1-1 after extra time. And Newcastle are into the 4th round after a 2-0 win over Leeds. Alan Pardew's men will now face Manchester City, who beat them 4-0 at the start of the season.
After they played us, they didn't really hit those heights, and I think everybody sort of questioned us, really. But I think they showed against United when they're hot, they're red hot. So it'll be a difficult game. But we're at home and we expect to win at home.
And holders Swansea have been knocked out of the Capital One Cup at the first time of asking. They lost 3-1 at Birmingham, and manager Michael Laudrup, who made a number of changes to his starting lineup, feels his side missed an opportunity.
disappointed because we always say that the Premier League is the most important thing, but we like to play in the cup competitions. And last year we won it, and it was great experience, fantastic experience. But we're out, and we can only learn from the game.
And that's your latest news and sport. More from me at 8 o'clock.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning! Coming up in the next 30 minutes, we'll be getting your take on local markets. I do want to know, when was the last time you used your local market and what did you buy from them? They're struggling, well, particularly Aylesbury Market, which is apparently looking a little bit shabby. But do we need them in 2013? I haven't been to a British market for years because, well, is the stuff that good? Is it that cheap? What is the point? Try and sell markets to me if you can. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. We've also got the latest on the nightmare situation on the M1. Martin is on the M1. Morning, Martin.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Well, how are you doing?
I'm okay. I've gone north, so I'm kind of all right. I've avoided that. But yeah, going south, that stopped at Toddington now. So the M1 South is just solid from Toddington all the way through.
Oh, blimey.
I went from Harpenden along the Luton Road, so that was fine. But the spur road from Gypsy Lane, sort of all the way up to the M1, was solid all the way up. And yeah, going south, it's stopped at Toddington now.
And we're hearing that this is quite a big accident. This could go on for a long time.
Yeah, I've got a hospital appointment in Harpenden at 3 o'clock, so I'm wondering whether I'd just turn around and go back now.
I'd set off now, Martin, if I were you, if you want any chance of getting there.
Yeah, but no, it's flowing fine after Toddington. The north from 10 all the way, there's hardly anything on it at all. It's
right.
Like Christmas, it's fine.
Martin, I appreciate your call. Thank you very much. If you've got an update, if you're stuck in that traffic, do give us a call. 08459 455 555 is the phone number. This morning we're asking, is your local market looking a little bit shabby? Well, traders at Aylesbury Market say theirs is.
The canopy, shocking. A lot of the time they haven't been put in the right position, so they'll put something right up a tree and you've got to move your own stall. The condition of the canopies themselves, okay, today we may have a reasonably decent one because it's got no holes in it. Last week, throwing it down with rain, and ours is full of holes. So clearly you have to think strategically about where you position things because you don't want to get rained upon.
No, they're not as good as they could be, certainly. With winter coming on, it's always a worry. Obviously, if you're bad stalls, you're going to get ruined stock. It would be nice to promote the market as much as possible. There's a lot to be done.
Well, those were market traders from Aylesbury. Aylesbury Vale District Council say they are doing all they can to support the traders. Well, I'm joined now by Andy Lever, the Field Support Officer for the National Market Traders Federation. Andy, what state are Britain's markets in?
I think a lot of markets are doing really well. You've got a market over in Bedford, nearby you, which is doing really well. In general, part of it's down to how well a high street's doing as to how well a market's doing. It's obviously a barometer on footfall.
Are they looking quite shabby and dated these days, a lot of them?
No, not really. It varies from council to council, but markets in general, if they put a bit of money into the market, it will look the part.
So is the responsibility down to the council then to help markets clean up and survive?
Well, most councils are the operator of the market, and I think they need to realise that they're an asset to the town that has a market in it, and that they should obviously reinvest appropriately.
You say they're an asset, Andy. Tell me why. What do they add to a town?
Well, I think if you go into any town centre that's got a market, you'll find that the day of the market is the busiest day of the week for trade, for all the town, shops included.
Are the numbers of people who use markets declining? Because you can get things so much cheaper and so much better quality, can't you, from the big supermarkets or from Amazon or places like that. Why would people use a market?
I think people like the community feel of a market. They like the banter of a market. And I think that shoppers shop everywhere. A shopper will shop at Marks and Spencer's, they'll shop at Primark, and they'll shop on the market.
You can get some great stuff at market. You can get some wonderfully unique stuff. You can get some fantastic fruit and veg. I guess part of the problem may be that some of the stalls aren't up to scratch, because a lot of the stalls do just sell a load of old tat, don't they?
Well, there has been an influx of as old tat, as you say, like as in car boots and second-hand goods. But a genuine market trader normally sells good quality products.
Really? You've never... I mean, I'm a big fan of the car boot, but you've never wandered through a market and seen one selling rubbish little plastic toys for £1 or anything like that?
Well, yeah, of course. But you could walk down any high street and go into a shop and buy a rubbish £1 toy.
Andy, thank you very much indeed. Andy Lever, Field Support Officer for the National Market Traders Federation. He obviously believes that markets are a very important thing, important asset to the town. Is he right? When was the last time you used your market? Anne's in St Albans. Good morning, Anne.
Hello, Ian.
We don't need markets anymore, do we?
Well, I do.
Oh, go on, why?
I love the market. I'm lucky enough to be able to use St Albans Market. And that's still, although it has gone downhill slightly, it's still a very good and bustling market.
What's so good about it?
Well, certainly with clothing. I've bought bread, cheeses, clothing of all various different sorts. Eggs.
Clothing from the market, Anne?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Is the quality any good?
Yes, it is. They're certainly on a par with anything that some of our big retailers sell at greatly inflated
Well, the thing is, though, if you go to somewhere like Tesco or Asda, you can get very good quality clothes there for just a few quid.
Well, the thing with the clothing, I think, with the big retailers, obviously they send their buyers out, they set out their stall and say we're going to invest our millions of pounds on these particular range of fashions.
Yes.
And if then they plumb. You know, if people don't like them, they say, well, I'm not going to M&S, I'm not going to so-and-so, because quite simply I don't like it. The market trader is a smaller buyer, and if he's buying something that's not going, then he's in a position to be able to say, OK, we'll change it. The ladies want this.
Yeah.
More versatile. And there's a place on our market that sells kaftans and Indian-style wear. It really is brilliant. You should give it a go.
How many kaftans have you got, Anne?
I haven't got any. I'm too short for a kaftan.
Really? Is there a height restriction on kaftans?
Well, there is. If you want to drag around about 3 feet of unwanted material.
Yeah, I see. Well, listen, thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoy your markets and you get a lot from them. Janet's in Ashridge. Morning, Janet.
Good morning. We never agree, do we?
No, we don't. Oh, you're labelled as grumpy, Janet, on my screen.
Oh, really?
No, I'm teasing. You're not at all. But we always disagree. Come on, let's have a fight. So you're a big fan of markets, are you?
Well, I run a farmer's market.
Oh, yes, I remember you, yes.
And I attend other farmers' markets.
Yes.
So, of course, I'm going to support local produce, which is fresh. It has a very small carbon footprint, and it's very good quality from small producers.
But now you're talking more about farmers' markets, which I think are slightly different from kind of the market stalls you'd get in a town on a Thursday afternoon.
Good heavens, we agree about something.
Oh, Janet! Come and give us a hug. Now, listen, and I do like, and I know we've had a little set to about farmers' markets before, but I do like local produce, and I do, like buying local eggs, and we've got a local egg dealer, and we get out cheese and things from there as well. So I do agree with that. But farmers' markets, they are different, aren't they, from the market stall in a town centre?
Well, they are still in a town centre.
Yes.
They, I think, are slightly different because you are restrictive. The stallholder is restricted.
Yes.
For instance, at Tring, you must produce your goods within 15 miles.
Right. Oh, that's okay.
So it's very local and very specific, and get some nice small producers with free-range eggs, free-range chickens. We've got 3 butcher farmers. Leighton Buzzard has 2 butcher farmers, and produce that doesn't travel very far, and meat that very easily compares with supermarkets.
Janet, how are the bees doing?
My bees are doing very nicely, thank you.
What happens to the bees in the winter? Do you have to put them indoors or something?
No, the bees go, you leave them with enough honey for the winter.
Yes.
And they stay in their hive.
Yeah.
And usually if it gets very cold, I put a duvet over them. There you are, I made you laugh.
You put a duvet over the bees?
Yes, I go to Oxfam and get old duvets, because in that very, very cold winter,
yes,
bees need to keep warm.
Of course they do.
And they're going to eat loads and loads and loads and loads.
Yes.
So keep them warmer, they don't eat quite so much.
Would you consider a hot water bottle?
No, I don't think so. I think the duvet does much better.
bet it does.
You've also got to strap it round, and of course the badgers can be a nuisance in the
those
winter.
flipping badgers.
Because the badgers try and push the hives over to get to the honey that's there.
So you get a duvet and you kind of strap it on and you keep the bees nice and warm all through the winter. I want a picture of it, Janet.
Do you?
I want you to send me a
Do you
picture.
want blue honey? Because at the moment I'm getting blue honey from blackberries. Now, you wouldn't like that, would you?
Hang on a second. Your honey, is, as we all know, is a golden orangey colour.
No, it isn't always.
Blue honey?
If you're going to have rapeseed honey, it's grey and hard. And at this time of the year, bees adore those squidgy blackberries.
I want a photo of your blue honey.
Well, I could put it on the market and everybody would go, ugh.
Oh, I wouldn't. I'd have some. Janet, I think we have to stop this. I think we're developing a relationship here. This is inappropriate.
Well, that won't do, will it?
It won't. Call in next time. We'll have a big argument about something.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Janet. Bye-bye. She puts a duvet over her bees to keep them warm. Oh, fantastic. We're hearing more. Thank you for that, Janet. I'm glad that you still listened, even after our set 2 last time. You see, it's all good sport, isn't it? It's all good sport. We're hearing more and more about the problems on the M1 because of this accident. Dean is on the A5 South in the Dunstable area. Dean, what have you got for us?
We'll put it this way, it's queuing way past back to the Horse and Jockey pub on the A5 going southbound. It's taken me half an hour to do about 3/4 of a mile.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Have you got? Are you heading off to work?
Yes, I am.
Have you got the option to turn round and go home?
No.
Oh, that's a shame.
Okay. Trouble is, customers, they've got to come first. So.
Dean, well done you. But basically, you're just tell people exactly where you are again, so they can try and avoid it.
It's A5 southbound between Dunstable and Redbourne.
When you say customers, Dean, what is it you do with customers?
I'm a telecommunications engineer.
Oh, okay, so you fix phones?
Basically, yeah.
Dean, listen, good luck, well done. Thank you for... See, that's he's the backbone of Britain, Dean. Not your teachers. It's a little bit of snow, I can't come in today. I'm not going to teach the kids today. If Dean was a teacher, he'd be in there, boom. Rain or sleet or snow or anything. Thank you, Dean. Basically, stay away from the 3 counties seems to be the message today. The M1 is in trouble, and so are all of us. Let's get the latest on that now. Here's Adam Glynn.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC 3 Counties Radio.
Thank you, Iain. Thank you to Dean, and thank you to everyone who's been calling in so far this morning. If you are stuck somewhere through the 3 counties, particularly with all these problems ongoing, if you can give us a call, please do. 08459 455 555. Now, the M1 northbound is, of course, still closed. It's a lorry that overturned quite early this morning. It's left a big fuel spill behind it. They are in the process of clearing the fuel spill. Recovery work is going to be ongoing for the lorry for a while, and they're not likely to reopen the motorway northbound until after the rush hour this morning. It is shut from Junction 8 at Hemel Hempstead through to Junction 9 at Redbourne, with congestion solid back as far as the M25 at Junction 6A. Your diversion, once you get as far as the closure, is to follow the hollow triangle signs. They'll take you along the A414, the 4147, the B487, and then the A5183 to Redbourne, so you can rejoin the M1 at Junction 9. Of course, all of the diversion routes are busy, including the A414. You've got heavy traffic through Harpenden on the A1081. Delays as Dean's head through Dunstable. It's looking very, very slow going down toward Redbourne there. You've also got problems on the A41 as people try and get down toward the M25. What they've done with the M25 is close off the slip roads that lead to the M1. So anti-clockwise, the exit slip is closed at Junction 21A, and clockwise, you've got the exit slip closed at Junction 21. Both of those are causing queues on the M25. You've also got the usual usual M25 delays, stop-start through the roadworks section and busy from Maple Cross to the M40. One very small bit of good news is that the A1 has reopened northbound. Yay! We had it closed because of overrunning roadworks over the night. It's from Biggleswade North up to the Sandy roundabout. That's now clear, but still very busy. The number again, 08459 455 555. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Adam. We'll have updates on the M1 situation as the morning progresses. 7:47. It's Thursday, the 26th of September. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. A Bedfordshire man is raising concerns about local NHS provision for children, claiming his son was left with a deep head wound for 20 hours despite being taken to 2 different hospitals. And you can see a photograph of that head wound on our Facebook page. Cheap alcohol is set to be taken off sale in High Wycombe's town centre shops in a bid to crack down on antisocial behaviour. And in sport, Javier Hernandez scored the only goal as Manchester United returned to winning ways, beating Liverpool 1-0 to reach the 4th round of the Capital One Cup. 08459 455 555. We're talking markets, we're talking the M1, now we're talking weather.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, very good morning to you. Well, it's a cooler start to the day for most of us, particularly towards northern areas. We've had some fresher air push in, but it is a rather cloudy start. The risk of seeing perhaps a few light showers towards parts of Buckinghamshire, but I think most places are going to stay dry, and any showers that we do see will fizzle out very quickly through the morning, and things will brighten up quite nicely by the time we get to the afternoon, just about everywhere into this fresh air. So you'll notice it's not going to feel quite as humid. There'll be plenty of sunshine around, and it will feel pleasantly warm in the sunshine once again. Temperatures up to 17 or 18 degrees Celsius, and that's 64 in Fahrenheit. So all in all, it's going to turn out to be a pretty nice day again. Now, as we head through into this evening and overnight, that's when you really notice the fresher air kick in, because it's going to be a chillier night. Lots of clear spells around, staying dry. Temperatures in the rural spots dropping into single figures quite readily. In the towns, holding at around 10 or 11 degrees Celsius. And then tomorrow, lots more autumn sunshine around. We won't have a misty start to the day. And for the weekend, mostly bright and breezy towards northern areas. Southern areas, it does look like we could see some wet weather at times, but we're not quite sure about the extent of how far north this rain is going to get. So at the moment, I'd say prepare for some wet weather, but hope for the best, and it's going to look bright and breezy, I think, for most places. Just the risk of some rain in the south. That's the forecast.
Every weekday morning from 9, the biggest local talking points.
There is only one professional force that can control chemical weapons. How can we, as a civilised country, stand by and let more poor innocent children get killed?
The JVS Show.
Harry's in Bedford. Let's see what Harry wants to say.
She knew what the laws were. She knew what she was doing. She got caught. Tough.
I disagree with the penalty. I think that for smuggling drugs, it shouldn't be a death penalty.
The JVS Show. Weekdays from 9. BBC Three Counties Radio.
And Jonathan Bernard-Smith has been on cracking form recently. I don't know what he's on, but I'll have an ounce of it, please. Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. It's 10 minutes to 8. Don't forget, if you can't stomach the whole show for whatever reasons, maybe you're busy, maybe medical reasons, maybe you just can't stand 3 hours of me, you can get a handy bite-sized version. It's about 50 minutes long, comes out every Friday in podcast form. You can either get it by going to the BBC Three Counties website and clicking on podcasts, or you can go to iTunes and type in Iain Lee and it pops up, and a new one pops online about every Friday about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that. The M1 is the big news story at the moment, and we're getting lots of your calls on just how bad it is. Philip's in Luton. Good morning, Philip.
Good morning, Iain.
Philip,
I was just turning back.
Oh, really? Where did you get to?
I got from Tollington to Luton in 40 minutes.
Oh, really?
And I'm headed down towards London today to do service calls. But when you get to Luton and go underneath the Luton Bridge to turn back, it's just horrendous. You can see all the traffic's just building up. But
so this is when you go heading southbound, the traffic's horrendous.
Yeah, it's just standstill. I'm actually turned round now. I'm underneath the Luton Bridge going back towards Tollington,
right?
And they're queuing all the way back to the Tollington turn-in and beyond now.
And so you're going to head off into that direction and into that traffic, are you?
No, sorry, I've just turned around and come back, so I'm heading towards Toddington and coming back over to Milton Keynes. But as I'm going past here, it's just not moving here, and I sat there for 40 minutes and done about 3 or 4 miles.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. It's one of those things when you're stuck in it, there's nothing you can do, is there, really? You just got to go with it.
Just listen to the radio.
Well, Philip, God bless you.
3 counties.
That's it. Thank you very much indeed. You see, that's what we wanted there. Well done, Philip. 08459 455 555. Well, maybe we can get some more on this with Tony Barrows, who's the Duty Ops Manager for the Highways Agency. Morning, Tony.
Good morning.
Bit of a nightmare. What's going on? What do we know?
Well, the situation is we've got an LGV, which is broadside, laying on its side across the carriageway between junctions 8 and 9 on the northbound. It's actually blocking all the lanes. We've got a diesel spill there and extensive damage to the road surface and barriers.
So if there's damage to the road surface, that means it's more than just getting the truck out of the way, isn't it?
Absolutely. Once we get the truck lifted, we've got recovery on scene at the moment, and once we get that truck righted, then we'll actually see the true extent of what's lurking underneath.
So how long will it take to get the truck lifted, do you know?
Well, the plan is at the moment, recovery's on scene. We've got a heavy wrecker there and a crane, and we're hoping that we'll get the lorry righted probably in the next half an hour. And then, obviously, as I say, we'll get a more sort of extensive survey of what's needed to be done to get the road back safe and reopen.
I know it's difficult to say at the moment, but any idea on how long we could be looking at?
Well, the actual scene recovery depends on the damage to the road surface, and also we believe the cab is resting on the concrete central reservation, which again will need repairs. And until that's structurally assessed, once the lorry's removed, I can't tell you.
How bad is the traffic there?
The traffic is extensively congested, and the problem we really have at the moment is the southbound traffic. We have tried to sign wherever we can across the country via NTIC, which is our central control centre, to divert people to other routes. Basically, traffic is now back to junction 12 on the southbound, and what we're asking people to do, if they are coming towards junction 12 on the southbound, if they can, come off at 13, across the 421 and down the A1M to junction 23.
Why is it so bad southbound? Has the truck gone onto the southbound side?
Not at all. Purely people are stopping and looking and seeing what's going on, and unfortunately we're just asking people if they can keep moving,
the old
keep going. Originally we did have a temporary lane 4 closure on this morning because from CCTV footage it looked as though the cab was actually protruding into the southbound carriageway. It's not. There are actually 2 concrete central reservations there, and the cab is purely on the northbound one. But the situation on the southbound is simply people looking at the incident.
Gosh, what an absolute nightmare. Do we know if anybody was seriously hurt?
The driver wasn't actually injured.
Wow.
I mean, I presume shaken extensively, but it's not being treated as an injury, RTC. We have the police on scene at the moment. They're dealing with the actual scene hub, and I've got all of my resources being on closures to assist with traffic heading in other directions. So what we're doing with traffic that's heading northbound, we have the M25 to the M1 closed in both directions. So what we're doing is pushing traffic round to 23 of the M25 and then sending traffic north up the A1M.
Tony, I appreciate your time. We may speak to you a little bit later on this morning if there are any further developments. But that's Tony Barrow, who is the Duty Ops Manager for the Highways Agency. And a small blessing, I guess, that the fellow wasn't killed or seriously injured who was driving it. That's got to be something, hasn't it? Hasn't it? I always do think when you're stuck in traffic, oh, flipping hell, what's going on? I always kind of think, yeah, someone may be dead. You know, someone may have just lost their dad or their sister or someone. So, but the fella's all right. So, you can moan in stuck in your car this morning. If you've got any latest information on that, if you're stuck in that traffic, here's an idea. What do you do if you are stuck in that traffic? Because I know many of you are listening to us. What are you doing to entertain yourself? What's going on inside your car to entertain yourself? 08459 455 555. My little boy is now old enough at 3.5 to play I Spy, but he doesn't play it properly. He's really annoying. So he'll go, oh, OK, so we'll be driving down the motorway. He'll go, my turn. I spy with my big eye. Yeah, that's clever. Something beginning with la. And we're going, lane, no. Lay-by, no. Lady, no. I don't know, what is it? Lion. Well, where can you see a lion? In that bush. No, you can't see a lion. Turns out he could see a lion. It escaped from the zoo. It hadn't. Just think, if you're going to play I Spy, play it properly. Front pages of the newspaper. The Guardian revealed exploitation of Qatar's World Cup slaves. Investigation reveals abuse of migrant workers preparing Emirate for 2022. They've also got a little sneaky peek at the end of Breaking Bad, so I can't really look at that. The Independent. And what on earth is that picture? It looks like some dolls, but I think they're models. As for kickbacks, we'll discuss that over lunch. Former Tory Treasurer's broker, ICAP, fined £55 million over LIBOR rate fixing scandal. It's an important story, but it's a story I don't understand. And I kind of think that the less I understand a story, the more important it probably is. Daily Telegraph. 200,000 mothers are forced into jobs. Rush back to work wrecks PM's pledge to lead most family-friendly government. More stay-at-home mums have gone back into employment in the past 2 years than in the previous 15 years combined, an official study suggests. It follows controversial government reforms that have been blamed for undermining traditional families. Well, if I'm honest, there's not a lot of news around today. Mandelson takes swipe at Miliband's energy plan. Lord Mandelson, the architect of New Labour, one of the leading... basically, lots of people are having a go at Ed Miliband for saying, do you know what? Energy companies make too much money. I'm going to stop that for a bit. How can you argue with that? How can you argue with someone saying, we are paying too much for our energy, it's got out of control, I'm going to freeze it for 20 months? Surely that's wonderful news, isn't it? That a politician has had the guts to make a promise that's going to save us money and fight big corporations? How could you not approve? 7:58, BBC Three Counties Radio. Let's get the latest on all the travel, including the M1. Here's Adam.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 northbound closed. This is the overturned lorry and it's shut from junction 8 at Hemel Hempstead to 9 at Redbourne. The congestion solid back to the M25 at junction 6A. They are in the process of trying to recover the lorry, but it's not going to be reopened until after the rush hour. It also left quite a big fuel spill behind it. The diversion route officially is to follow the hollow triangle symbols. It'll take you from junction 8 via the A414, the A4147, the B487, the A5183 into Redbourne, and then you can rejoin the M1 at junction 9. As you'd imagine, that diversion route is solid. It is also solid on a few other surrounding routes, like the A1081 through Harpenden and the A5 through Dunstable. The London-bound carriageway past the scene of that accident, there's about a 15-mile queue because of people slowing down to look at the accident. It's busy from Flitwick, and they've now closed off lane 4 on the southbound side because of recovery. They've also closed the slip roads from the M25 to the M1. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Adam. We'll have the latest on the M1 as it happens after the news with Catherine Boyle.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock. The headlines: heavy delays on the M1, concern for local NHS provision for children, and couple attacked in Bedford.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
As we've been hearing, commuters are being warned to expect heavy delays on the M1 and surrounding areas after the closure of the northbound stretch between junctions 8 and 9. A lorry has overturned, spilling diesel and causing extensive damage to the road surface. Tony Barrows from the Highways Agency said it's unclear when things will return to normal.
The actual scene recovery depends on the damage to the road surface, and also we believe the cab is resting on the concrete central reservation, which again will need repairs, and until that's structurally assessed, once the lorry's removed, I can't tell you.
Stay tuned to BBC Three Counties Radio for updates during the course of the morning. A father from Harold in Bedfordshire is raising serious concerns about local NHS provision for children, claiming his son was left with a deep head wound for 20 hours despite being taken to 2 different hospitals. Rob Ferguson took 10-year-old Charlie to Milton Keynes, believing recent cuts at Bedford meant he couldn't be treated closer to home. He says staff there told him the wound was so deep it would have to be treated at Stoke Mandeville and someone would call ahead. But when the family arrived, Stoke Mandeville knew nothing about them and they told them to come back in the morning. Mr Ferguson says he was left feeling powerless.
Well, obviously getting more and more frustrated, but you kind of hope that you're in the hands of the professionals. And I don't blame anybody individually at any of these hospitals, but it's obviously a reflection on the state of the whole system. But, annoyed and still very worried, mainly for my boy.
The sale of cheap alcohol is being severely restricted in High Wycombe's town centre shops in a bid to clamp down on antisocial behaviour. The District Council and Thames Valley Police are hoping to replicate the success of a similar scheme in Ipswich and say the majority of stores have signed up. Councillor Clive Harris says the initial signs are good.
The measure's only been going since April, and we won't know fully until we've had a chance to actually calculate exactly what sort of improvements there have been. We've been able to sit down with the police and check the figures with them. But it is definitely perceived that we're seeing less street drinkers in the middle of the town, which improves the atmosphere for shoppers and business people visiting the town, and that's a good thing.
Police in Bedford are appealing for witnesses to a vicious attack on dog walkers. Shortly after midnight on Wednesday, the couple was set upon as they walked along the embankment towards the Star Rowing Club. The woman was hit in the face and repeatedly kicked. A number of young men have been arrested in connection with this incident. In sport, Javier Hernandez's goal early on in the second half was enough for Manchester United to beat Liverpool 1-0 at Old Trafford in the League Cup third round last night. The match marked the return of Liverpool striker Luis Suarez after he completed his 10-match ban for biting. And the weather dry with sunny spells and a top temperature of 18 degrees Celsius, that's 64 degrees Fahrenheit. Get the latest news and sport along with some heavy breathing at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
So, Catherine?
Yeah?
I have to drive down the motorway M1 as I like to call it, to get to my house.
Yes.
Where I live. I was wondering if I could kip at yours tonight. Oh.
Well, I would say yes, but my mother-in-law's on the camp bed.
Well, you could sleep on the floor.
Oh, thanks.
Or she can. One of you can sleep on the floor. I mean, I'm not fussed which.
Right.
I'll top and tail with your mother-in-law.
She'd love that.
How old is she?
She's older than you. But
Perfect.
She's quite small. Perfect.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. We've all gone a little bit stir-crazy this morning. Little bit stir-crazy. Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Coming up between now and 9 o'clock with JVS, we'll be having the latest updates on the situation on the M1. Haven't you heard? It's a nightmare out there. You can give us a call and tell us what's happening with you. Also keen to know, if you're stuck in the traffic, what on earth are you doing to entertain yourselves? Keep it clean, keep it clean. We'll also have the story about a 10-year-old boy who's left with his skull exposed for more than 20 hours. His dad is not happy with the treatment he received at local hospitals. Local markets are struggling. Well, do we really need local markets? When was the last time you used yours? And what did you buy? And Justin Dealey has been out and about playing the new Chaz and Dave single to people. This is no sense of irony. My tongue is not in my cheek. I think it's a cracking song. We're going to find out what people thought, and we're also going to have Chaz on the show, he said, reminding his team who it looks like had forgotten to book Chaz for the show. Facebook.com/BBC3CR. You can send me a text, 81333, start your text 3CR, and you can give me a call, 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Well, Carlito was trying to make his way on the M1 South, and he's... are you stuck, Carlito?
Yeah, stuck right in it.
Where exactly are you?
I've just gone past... I'm in between junction 11 and 10. I'm going southbound.
And how slowly are you moving?
5-10 miles an hour.
Oh, man alive.
It is bad, but I've got you to keep me entertained, which is one good thing.
Yes, let's see how long that lasts. It is. Listen, I'm going on the M1 South in a few hours, and it is frustrating that it slows down on that side, even though the accident is on the northbound side.
That's exactly why I rang. I mean, if it is this bad and it's only because of rubbernecking, it's like, surely the other people that are on southbound just want to get moving, so forget what's going on northbound and just get going.
But I guess the thing is, and I'm guilty of this, Carlito, is if I've been stuck in traffic for an hour... When it gets to what's caused the problem, I think I've been stuck in it for an hour. I might as well have a little look now as well. It is human nature to see something horrible and grim, isn't it?
Yes, but I mean, if you're in a rush, the last thing you want to do is see anything like that. You just want to get going.
So, Carlito, can you guarantee me, as you make your way down the M1...
Look.
Yeah, are you promising me you won't look?
I promise you I won't pay any attention to what's going on northbound.
I don't... I listen, I barely know you. I don't believe you, Carlito. Good luck. I hope you get there eventually. I don't believe him for a second. We are genetically programmed to look at things that are horrific. Now, no one died in this accident as far as we know, so that's kind of good news. But we are, and if you're stuck in traffic for an hour, 2 hours, once you get to the reason that traffic began, the point of the problem, you kind of think, I've been stuck in this for an hour and a half, I might as well have a look. Oh my goodness, look, how's he done that? You do, don't you? What are you doing in your cars to keep yourself entertained? Roy's in Hemel. Morning, Roy.
Good morning.
How do you entertain yourself in your car when you're stuck in traffic?
I watch all the other idiots on the road.
Is that how you do it?
That's how I do it.
And there are some idiots. You do get some idiots who, if they're stuck in traffic, constantly looking for that little shortcut that no one else has noticed, ducking in and out of lanes and trying to find the little shortcuts and flashing and beeping. It doesn't work, does it? Just go with it.
That's right, yeah. I mean, it took me nearly an hour to get from 11 to 8 this morning.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, so...
what's that normally? That's about 15 minutes, isn't it?
Well, a 10-minute run, yeah. I mean, I put a picture of that accident up on your Facebook page, so if anyone wants to have a look at it, they can have a look at it.
Oh, listen, have you posted it on our Facebook page? That's very kind of you. Let me just see if I can boot up this ridiculously slow computer. Let's have a little look and see. I hope you took it while it was safe to do so.
Absolutely.
We wouldn't want any naughtiness.
No.
I can't see it. Oh no, that's a picture of the lad whose head fell open. Roy, we will have a little look and we will we'll put that up so everyone else can see it as well. That's Roy in Hemel who posted that. Here we go. Look, Roy, I've found it. Let's have a look at this picture that Roy's posted of the incident on the M1. Oh my! Oh, flipping it! Can we copy that picture and we'll post it? Have you got it? We'll post up. It can be a little bit tricky to find other people's pictures sometimes. How on earth did the driver do that? What you've got, I'll describe it. It's a John Lewis lorry, the big one. It's widthways across the M1, and the cab, the bit where the driver sits, there are two kind of concrete sort of barriers with, I would say, about 4 foot in between them, in the middle of the motorway. Somehow the cab has jumped one of those concrete barriers. If you're a car expert or a driver or a truck driver, have a look at the picture. Have we put that up ourselves so that people can find it? Have we done that? I think we have. If not, we're going to. Have you grabbed that picture of the truck and posted it? We'll do that in the next 30 seconds or so. Have a look at that picture and give me a call. How on earth has that happened? I can't even begin to fathom how the truck has jumped over that concrete barrier. 08459 455 555 is the... telephone number if you want to give us a call on that. Now, a father from Bedfordshire has criticised the level of NHS care available for children locally after his 10-year-old son, Charlie, was left with a head wound that exposed his skull for more than 20 hours. Earlier on, I spoke to Rob Ferguson from Harold, who said confused messages about children's services at Bedford Hospital meant he went straight to Milton Keynes, only to be told to go to Stoke Mandeville. Both hospitals refused to come on the programme to speak to me this morning. They've given me statements, but they're rather long and rather tedious, I'm afraid. Deborah Sanders is from Bucks Health Watch and used to work in A&E. Morning, Deborah. I always thought that head wounds, particularly head wounds on young children, were taken quite seriously and dealt with rather swiftly. It doesn't seem to be the case here, does it?
No, it doesn't. And when you think that this child is probably scared and in pain, I think this is an appalling situation. Can I say that I'm not actually representing Health Watch Bucks? I am just a patient who has been very involved with patient pathways for a long time.
Excellent. Thank you for clearing that up.
Just to clear that up.
No, thank you very much indeed. Do you hear stories like this very often?
We hear stories, or I hear stories far too often. I've dealt more with elderly care than with children care recently, but you hear the same stories, and both are vulnerable and both need care in the right place at the right time.
The thing with a head wound is you don't know what's going on inside. You don't. It may look, harmless, but you don't know the damage that's been done inside.
Absolutely.
And that's why you have to act so quickly, surely.
Well, you have to act quickly, but you also have to, and I think this is an important point to make, you must be put in the right place with the right specialist. And the fact that we are transferring services to one area is probably long-term the right thing to do. What we haven't got right is the pathways to get that patient to the right place.
Now, what do you mean by the pathways?
I mean you take the patient to the first place because you're scared, you're vulnerable, you need to be seen. Now, if that's not the right person, the transfer to the right person has got to be done with care. It's got to be done with good communication, and the patient and the place you're going to needs to be informed what is happening. Transfers have always happened. Well, I worked in A&E 40 years ago, and we were transferring patients then. It's not the transfer that's wrong, it's the way that you do it that's wrong. And
that seems to be the problem here, and I have heard other stories. The first hospital, Milton Keynes Hospital, said, go to Stoke Mandeville, we'll give them a call, you'll go straight to the front of the queue, you'll be dealt with really quickly. And that call either didn't get made or wasn't received by the right person. Stoke Mandeville had no knowledge of that. No. And I guess that had that call been made successfully, that would have made things so much easier and smoother and quicker, wouldn't it?
Absolutely, and this isn't what's happening. We've changed the services, which is clinically right, but we haven't put the bits in between. Interestingly, I've just pulled up the action plan from Bucks Hospitals after the Keogh report because they were on special measures. Number 12, review patient pathways between hospitals and sites to ensure high quality of care and clinical effectiveness, positive patient experience and patient safety at all times. That says they recognise that they've got an issue. They're meant to be reviewing this pathway by the 30th of September, reporting to the board by the 30th of October, and developing a survey of patient-carer experience. This incident suggests that needs to be done and isn't being done very well at the moment.
Deborah Sanders, thank you very much for your time this morning. 08459 455 555 if you want to have your say on that. We've got a caller on the line. It's Justin from Dealey. Good morning, Justin.
Hello, Ian.
Oh, it's you.
It's me.
Flippin' heck.
Yes.
You're right.
Yeah, not too bad, but...
You're at the M1, aren't you?
Yeah, I've got a lot of sympathy for drivers this morning because I'm on a bridge overlooking Junction 10.
Don't jump!
No, I'm not going to jump, don't worry. Yeah. But northbound, of course, the M1 closed between 8 and 9. It's quite a weird situation seeing this because people coming on to the M1 northbound at 9, the odd car getting through there, obviously problems coming onto that junction, but once they get onto the motorway travelling northbound, there's hardly any vehicles on that section. However, looking southbound, the direction you're going to be travelling in later on, just queues and queues of traffic all the way back to Junction 12, and it's getting worse by the minute. Traffic is at a complete standstill as I look down here at Junction 10 of the M1 going southbound.
And this could go on for quite a long time, couldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose this morning, the only good thing to come from this is we know that the driver of the vehicle involved wasn't seriously injured or killed. Obviously, we're often talking about these problems on the M1, but that was the case this morning, so some good news there. But with the accident, there's been a spillage as well, and we know from talking to the Highways Agency, this will not be resolved before the rush hours, so we've got a while to go yet before things get back to normal on the M1 in both directions.
Have you seen the incident itself?
No, I haven't, because the bridge I'm on here, I'm looking down the motorway, as I say, going southbound, just queues of traffic. The accident northbound, that's just a bit further down, so I can't see that. All I can see on the northbound section is it coming up from Junction 9, where people are getting on there, and there's hardly any cars coming on at all, so problems getting on, but it is a weird situation, seeing the motorway going in one direction, completely chock-a-block, standstill, and in the other direction a few cars coming through, and there's hardly anybody on there.
Justin, good stuff. Thank you very much indeed. I do suggest you go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/BBC3CR, or follow us on Twitter. We're going to tweet the picture as well. We've tweeted the picture already at BBC3CR. Roy in Hemel took a picture of the truck that's caused the accident. It is an incredible picture of a John Lewis lorry. The cab has somehow jumped over a concrete barrier. If anyone could explain to me how on earth that could happen, do give us a call. 8:16, BBC Three Counties Radio. Let's get the latest on what's happening on the M1 now. Here's the Travel Centre and Adam Glynn.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Well, I'm looking at the camera at the accident scene right now, and the lorry has just literally been righted once again, so it is now on its wheels, but the cab is still partly on top of that concrete barrier on the central reservation, so the motorway's still going to be closed for quite a while yet. An extensive fuel spill from that lorry. They're trying to get that mopped up from the carriageway. There are 2 recovery trucks trying to get this lorry back at least into a position where they can try and move it, but it's back on its wheels again. The latest we've had from the Highways Agency is that it's going to be closed at least until after the morning rush, possibly further into the afternoon as well. So that's the M1 northbound, closed off from junction 8 at Hemel Hempstead to 9 at Redbourne, with congestion solid back to the M25 at junction 6A. Your official diversion, if you're approaching that queue from the M25, say, you're supposed to leave at junction 8, follow the A414, the 4147, the B487 and the A5183, which will bring you into Redbourne to rejoin the M1 at junction 9, which is what Justin was looking at further down the motorway. It's very, very slow on the diversion route, but once you get onto the motorway itself, of course, beyond the accident scene, it's totally clear. London-bound side, very different prospect. There's about a 15-mile queue from back at junction 12 Flitwick all the way down to past the scene of the accident around Hemel Hempstead, and they've closed off lane 4 as well past the scene so that they can try and recover that part of the lorry that's ended up on the concrete barrier. They've also closed off the A414 Link Road now, northbound. This is the old M10, and they've shut that northbound from the Park Street roundabout up to the M1 to try and stop traffic joining the M1 there. You've got delays on a few other routes through Harpenden and through Dunstable. It's very busy this morning, and then they've also closed off the exit slip roads from the M25 onto the M1 to stop people from joining there and adding to the queues, but of course that's just causing delays on the M25. You've got the usual stop-start traffic through the roadworks, which hasn't been helped much by this either. Your updates are invaluable this morning. Keep calling us if you can, 08459 455 555. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Adam. It's 8:18. It's Thursday, the 26th of September. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. There are heavy delays on the M1 and surrounding areas this morning. A lorry has overturned, forcing the closure of the northbound stretch between junctions 8 and 9. A Bedfordshire man is raising serious concerns about local NHS provision for children, claiming his son was left with a deep head wound for 20 hours despite being taken to 2 different hospitals. In sports, football team beat another football. Coming up, is your local market looking a little bit shabby? 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Strictly's back.
Who'll be the prince of the passo and who'll trip up on their tango?
It started with a sparkle as the stars were revealed.
My favourite is the hairy biker.
Mr. Chaplin. I think he's going to surprise us.
Sophie Ellis-Baxter.
Mark Benton. He'll really enjoy it.
Then the pro dancers added their glitter.
Ola's gorgeous. Pasha.
Artem. He's got a really strong presence.
James. Cheeky chappy.
And now the judges want to see who will dazzle on the dance floor.
Let's skip to the good bit.
Natalie, I think she'll have that flair. She'll be a strong girl.
Big Ben. Sportsmen always go for it.
A weekend of Strictly Come Dancing starts Friday night at 9 on BBC One and BBC One HD.
Yeah. Sounds like a lot of fun, whatever that programme was. Jonathan Vernon-Smith has joined me in the studio. Were you caught up in the traffic this morning? Do you have any...
Well, not really, but I did drive through and notice that round Harpen and St Albans Way getting very, very busy this morning, as obviously all the traffic's coming off. And as I came up, I managed to get onto the M1 at junction 9.
Well done.
No traffic coming north, which is always a little bit eerie.
Yeah.
The traffic coming southbound, absolutely solid. And when I got to the top of the roundabout at junction 10, oh my word, the traffic as far as the eye could see, just solid traffic.
I think I may just buy a flat in Luton and just never go back home.
Or a helicopter.
Yes, that'd be like Edmonds.
Yes, you could jet off from the roof here, couldn't you?
And show everyone my crinkly bottom. Now, you've given me 4 chewing gum.
I have.
Pourquoi?
Well, because you admitted to me as I walked in here, the first thing you said was, I haven't brushed my teeth today.
I didn't say it in that voice, but yes, I did say those words. I haven't... I was staying at a friend's house last night.
How do you think you sound?
Kelly Betts... Oh, Kelly Betts, we'll get her in a second. She does a very... Well, she does what she thinks is a good impression of me.
Right.
And it is similar to what you're doing. Can we get Kelly Betts? I want you, Kelly Betts. Put your headphones on. And get your microphone because I want you, Kelly Betts, one of our production team. I use that term very, very loosely. Jonathan, just do your impression of me again for Kelly.
You kind of said, I haven't brushed my teeth today.
Right now, you do your impression of me.
Ian Lee! He's a bit breathy and he laughs in between things a lot.
Those two things are quite similar, the impressions that you've done there. Both basically making me sound like some form of deviant.
Funny that.
Anyway, so I haven't brushed my teeth today, and I thought I would politely tell you before our morning snog.
Yes.
Which you have bowed out of today.
So I have. I've respectfully bowed out of that one today, but I have just passed over 4 chewing gums.
Have them now. I'll have them after the show.
No, if you have one now, it'll affect your mouth for the rest of the show.
Yes, but my mouth does feel very dry, dirty,
furry.
Oh,
how disgusting.
Furry mouth, tastes of kind of stale coffee.
Minging!
Yeah, it's minging. Don't look too closely. Do you have a look? Now, what's coming up on your show today? This is an interesting one. I was considering looking at this, and I thought I didn't quite know how it would fit in, but I think this is a cracking one you've got here.
Well, to be honest with you, we've changed the phone-in several times this morning. We've been trying to work out what is today's biggest topic and what people are going to be talking about today. And from 9 this morning, we've plumped for this. There's a build-up for you. Do you find the mental patient fancy dress costume offensive? Asda has apologised for any offence caused by a mental patient fancy dress costume that's been on sale in their Halloween display. The costume costs £20 and included a horror mask, a meat cleaver and a medical gown splattered with fake blood. The mental health charity Mind has told the BBC it was stunned to see the mental patient costume on display. Well, from 9 this morning, I want your views on this. Do you find the mental patient fancy dress costume offensive? Lots of people have mental health issues. We are, as a society, a little more sensitive to mental health issues. I mean, only at the beginning of the year, when I referred to Sinead O'Connor on Twitter as a complete weirdo, the offence I got... The comments from people saying that is outrageous, you shouldn't say things like that, she's got mental health issues.
Yes, she does have issues.
I didn't mean it to be offensive in a mental health way. I just meant that her behaviour on the Andrew Marr show was weird.
It was eccentric, wasn't it? Yes.
But I wonder whether we are now sensitive to mental health issues and whether simply to be selling a mental patient costume for Halloween is simply out of touch, out of date and unacceptable. Or do you think we're going too far? Do you think there's nothing wrong with it whatsoever? If somebody wants to buy a mental patient costume with a meat cleaver and a medical... What?
I'm so sorry.
What?
Making me laugh. I do apologise.
Someone wants to buy a mental patient costume with a meat cleaver and a medical gown splattered with fake blood.
Yes.
Perhaps that's perfectly acceptable. And you're finding it funny.
I am finding it funny.
It's funny.
Yeah, I think it's funny.
I mean, Halloween is supposed to be a bit funny, isn't it? You dress up looking like something a bit...
They do, but what Asda... I mean, Asda have withdrawn it, and I think they're going to make a sizable donation to Mind, aren't they?
They are.
But the sense behind the costume is, this isn't someone who's got depression, or this is like a lunatic from a psychopath film. That's the character it is portraying. Maybe mental patient is perhaps the wrong phrasing, the wrong title they should have put on it.
But aren't they ultimately? Isn't this costume supposed to demonstrate someone who's been institutionalised because of their mental health problems?
Yeah,
they've stolen a doctor's gown and gone out on a crazy rampage with a meat cleaver.
You've built up a whole backstory to this.
I was trying to think, why is this a mental patient costume? Because I don't think many mental patients wear doctor's gowns, do they?
No, they don't. They're not allowed to.
So, you would imagine they've obviously attacked the doctor, stolen his gown, managed to, I don't know, go via some Chinese restaurant and steal a meat cleaver, and gone off on a crazy rampage. Hence the costume. But is it offensive? From 9 this morning, do you find the mental patient fancy dress costume offensive? 08459 455 555. I'd like your call.
Why has he gone to a Chinese restaurant?
Well, that's where you see meat cleavers most often, don't you?
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Dear, Chris, you're on the line. Good morning, Chris.
I was only just ringing up to say that the doctor's gown isn't a doctor's gown, it's a straitjacket.
Oh, is it a straitjacket on the mental patient's outfit?
Yeah, he's meant to be wearing a straitjacket, they said on the news this morning.
Oh, OK. Well, in that case, I suggest that you phone up JVS at 9 o'clock and harangue him mercilessly.
I will.
Thank you very much, Chris. There we go. JVS ducked out of the studio quite quickly there. Have you seen the picture of it? No doubt they will tweet it at some point. I wonder if I can find it on here. I did see it earlier in the day, and I thought, I wonder if there's something we could do with that. I didn't quite know how it would sit with our show. Asda mental patient outfit is the phrase being Googled, and there is a picture of it. Let's have a little look. Is it a straight jacket? It's so hard to tell these days. Anyway, it's tattered and it's covered in blood, and yes, he does have a meat cleaver that could possibly have come from a Chinese restaurant there. Failure on the part of my team. We're trying to get Chaz from Chaz and Dave on. What the hell? And yes, I am cursing because I am furious. What the hell is going on, Kelly Betts? Where is Chaz?
So Chaz, as in Chaz and Dave.
Yes.
I've left a message on his mobile phone, and I found his house number.
Right.
And I've called that as well, and that's rang and then went to answer phone.
Right. So what I'll ask the question again. Where is Chaz?
Chaz, if you're listening, can you give us a call? We want to talk to you about that awful, that really good new single that
Don't do it like that. He's not going to come on if you're being rude about him.
No, that was just a mistake.
Okay, thank you, Kelly Betts. You failed. You got 30 minutes to undo your failing.
Yeah, we'll get him.
Okay, we will get him. She's promised, you see. She's promised, so therefore we will get him. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if your name is Chaz. Even if you're not the Chaz from Chaz and Dave, we'll talk to you, OK? Not saying we're desperate, but if your name is Chaz or Charles or Charlie or Chuck, because that's what Chaz is short for, we'll talk to you. 08459 455 555. Coming up in the next 30 minutes of the show, we'll talk more about shabby markets and getting your stories about when you've used your market. When did you last go to the market? When I think of markets in Britain, I think of them selling rubbish toys for 99p, cheap versions of cola bottles and milk bottles, the sweets, and some dodgy-looking apples. Have I got that wrong? Is there more to the local market than just that? 08459 455 555. But now let's get the latest on the nightmare that's happening on the M1, both south and northbound. Let's go to the travel centre and Adam Glynn.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Ian, thank you. M1 northbound closed. Overturned lorry. They continue to recover it and to try and mop up the fuel spill. It is shut from junction 8 at Hemel Hempstead to 9 at Redbourne, the A5. Congestion solid back to the M25 at junction 6A. Looking at the cameras, they have managed to get the lorry back up again. It's on its wheels, and they're in the process of trying to move the cab, from the central reservation where it was sort of poking out into lane 1 of the London-bound carriageway. So it's back upright again, but the Highways Agency have said that it's not likely to open until at least after the morning rush hour. So your diversion for that northbound closure: you leave the motorway at junction 8, follow the A414, the 4147, the B487 and the 5183, which will take you into Redbourne to rejoin the M1 at junction 9. Once you get back on at junction 9, it is a totally clear run, but of course all of the diversion routes are busy. Now, the London-bound carriageway, it's about a 15-mile queue, and they've got one lane closed off, lane 4, the one nearest the other carriageway, because of the recovery work. It's delays from the scene of the accident round junction 8 all the way back to junction 12 at Flitwick. They've closed off the A414 Link Road northbound. This is the old M10. It's shut to stop people trying to join the M1 and just get stuck in the queues. They've also closed off the exit slips from the M25, both clockwise and anti-clockwise, onto the M1, again to stop people joining the queues, but it's causing delays on the M25. There's also severe delays through the roadworks section of the M25 this morning. It's looking really, really busy past Potter's Bar. Now, if you're not stuck in any of this, you're somewhere else in the three counties. There are also delays this morning on the A6 and the A507 through Clop Hill, but possibly as people try and head across from the M1 to the A1. You have A1 delays at the Black Cat roundabout, the A1M south past Stevenage, the A10 in Cheshunt, the A414 in Hertford, the A120 in Bishop Stortford, the A41 in Aylesbury and the A404 in Marlow, all looking very slow. If you can update us on any of these problems, especially the M1, 08459 455 555. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good Morning with the 8:30 headlines. I'm Catherine Boyle. There are heavy delays on the M1 and surrounding areas this morning after a lorry overturned, hitting the central reservation and forcing the closure of the northbound stretch between junctions 8 and 9. A Bedfordshire man's raising serious concerns about local NHS provision for children, claiming his son was left with deep head wounds for 20 hours despite being taken to 2 different hospitals. And the sale of cheap alcohol is being severely restricted in High Wycombe's town centre shops in a bid to clamp down on antisocial behaviour.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Manchester United returned to winning ways following Sunday's 4-1 derby defeat. A Javier Hernandez goal just after half-time sealed a 1-0 win over Liverpool to send United through to the 4th round of the Capital One Cup.
First corner of the second half. Played in, and it's into the net! Off Hernandez! Simple volley, poor marking by Liverpool inside the 6-yard box, and in the first minute of the second half, Manchester United take the lead.
Arsenal are also through after needing penalties to beat West Brom when the match finished 1-1 after extra time. Nacho Monreal scored the winning spot kick.
It's the Spanish left-back, Monreal. Here he comes, left-footed, straight down the middle. Arsenal have won the penalty shootout at the Hawthorns.
So this is how the draw in full for the 4th round of the Capital One Cup looks. Newcastle versus Manchester City. Tottenham will play Hull. Sunderland against Southampton. Manchester United versus Norwich. Birmingham v Stoke. Leicester against Fulham. Burnley play West Ham, and Arsenal against Chelsea. And those ties, Ian, because I know you'll be watching all of them, will be played on October the 29th and 30th. Oh, shut up. Stephen Lee will appeal the 12-year ban that effectively ends his snooker career. Neil Clegg, a former manager of Stephen Lee, who was alongside him at his match-fixing tribunal, says the player never stood a chance.
I know from speaking to him personally, he just had no money to defend himself. I think also there's a large element of naivety in Stephen going into it, also poorly prepared, but I don't think that warrants an automatic guilty verdict. His lack of finances incredibly hampered him and may come back and ultimately rue that sort of that side of matters.
And that's your latest news and sport. More from me at 9 o'clock.
His lack of finances and his lack of morals, I think, are what ruined it. We can say he's been found guilty.
Yeah.
He's found guilty. He's a cheat. Good. He should be banned for 12 years. My family's very disappointed. We don't talk about Uncle Stephen anymore. You strike me as the sort that would use markets a lot.
My granddad did.
Really?
Oh, Lord love him.
What?
It became a bit of a running joke.
Oh.
He lived near Salford Precinct, and they've got a bustling market there.
Yeah.
It sells all sorts of stuff.
Yes.
And he would regularly bring me great big bags of dusty chocolates, and they've gone slightly...
Oh, not the dusty chocolates.
And he once bought me a travel...
I've got their second album somewhere on vinyl. Yes, go on.
A travel hairdryer. And this is in the days where you didn't really go abroad very much, so it was kept in the cupboard for ages. And then when I actually took it to France, it exploded. Quite spectacularly.
Grandad was trying to assassinate you.
He was. And then the other one was when I got older, he bought me a screw-top bottle of wine with no threads in the screws. So we had to take it off with pliers.
Oh, thank you, Catherine.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
She yanked it off with her teeth. Don't believe that nonsense about pliers. There's nothing that could stop that woman getting booze down her gullet if that's what she wanted. We're talking about markets. We'll have the latest on the M1. But before that, Ray is in Milton Keynes. Good morning, Ray.
Oh, good morning.
You've called in about Chaz and Dave?
Yeah.
Oh, are you the gentleman we were going to send the CD to?
No.
Oh, in that case, forget I said that and let's move on. What can I do for you, sir?
Just to inform you that they're in concert this weekend in Cornwall.
Oh.
A place called Lou. They're appearing with the Stranglers and loads of other groups on the beach.
Hang on a second. Chaz and Dave are appearing appearing in the Lou with the Stranglers?
In Lou in Cornwall.
I know Lou's a fantastic place. It's a shame it's not in the Three Counties, otherwise we could all go down there. Do you like a bit of Chaz and Dave, Ray?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
I think they're great, and I think they take a lot of stick, and they're kind of teased a lot, and I think they're a wonderful, wonderful band.
Yeah, two honest lads.
Two honest lads, great talent.
Yeah.
Ray, thank you very much indeed. We're getting an update on whether we can find Chaz at the moment. Kelly Betts, whose job literally is hanging in the balance. What's the latest?
So, I've spoken. I rang the house number
of Chaz.
I believe it's of Chazan.
Yeah.
And I spoke to who I believe is his wife.
Let's hope so.
And she was very lovely, fan of you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
And said, "Can you call back in 5 minutes?"
Yes.
Let's see what that means.
Well, hopefully that means call back in 5 minutes.
Hopefully it means that yes, we can speak to him.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
You can give us a call, 08459 455 555 is the phone number. We're talking markets and, well, potentially shabby markets. Is your market looking a little bit shabby? Little bit down market. When did you last use your market? Well, traders at Aylesbury Market have told us their stalls could do with a bit of a facelift. Are they right? Diana Fawcett is the Aylesbury Town Centre manager and joins me now. The market's a bit shabby, Diana.
Iain, we absolutely agree that the market needs upgrading, and we're actually in the process of researching stalls right at this very moment.
So what's wrong with it in your opinion?
Well, first of all, let's start off on the positive. I mean, we're really passionate about our market. It's right in the heart of the town, and it's really important to the retail. Markets across the UK are struggling, and we're putting a lot of work and effort into our market to really try and bring it up to standard so that the customer experience is better and the traders get more footfall.
And the fact that it looks shabby, or we're hearing complaints that it looks shabby?
I mean, certainly the stalls do need replacing. And this year we've done a number of initiatives on the market. If you've just got a minute, Iain, I'd like to sort of share some of those with you. And the stalls are part of that ongoing replacement, and the stalls will be upgraded by the end of this year, and that has always been the plan.
And that includes new gazebos, does it?
We're looking at the gazebos, we're looking at the frames, we're looking a little bit outside of the box and thinking how can we make the market look a lot more attractive, so maybe using different styles of gazebos at different parts of the market to really bring it to life.
Market traders, they are generally disgruntled, aren't they? Because markets don't have the trade they once had. Can you do anything to help direct people towards that market?
I think you can. I think you can create a real buzz on the market. And this year on our market, we've joined in with Love Your Local Market Fortnight, and we've had 20-piece silver band on there, street entertainers. We've had John Bly from Tring, the antiques expert, coming on, doing free valuations. We've done treasure trails with free theatre tickets.
Is that going to encourage people to buy pears and tat, though?
Well, I don't think there's a lot of tat on our market, I have to say that. I think the quality of our traders are actually very, very good, and I think it's about raising the awareness to the consumer about what's on the market, and by putting on events and creating a buzz in the market will encourage people to come and see actually what they're missing out on.
And how often do you buy things from the market, Diana?
Every week, Iain. How
Really?
often do you?
No, not very often at all. I don't like them.
Shame on you.
Well, no, not shame on me. I'm not the one that's supposed to be encouraging markets. That's your job. What was the last thing you bought?
What was the last thing I bought? Cut flowers.
Cut flowers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the British market. I just think that they look a little bit. Well, they don't look very good, and the stuff they sell doesn't appeal to me. I can get it cheaper and better elsewhere.
Well, I don't think you've come to Aylesbury very recently, Iain, because we've got an Italian food stall on there selling a whole range of different Italian goods. We've got leather handbags, we've got hand-painted furniture from somebody that actually used to do sign writing on aeroplanes. He does marvellous stuff. We've got fresh fish, we've got beautiful flowers, loads of fresh fruit and veg, and you can talk directly to the trader. You can find out where their produce has come from, and you can find out how fresh it is, and you can get that personal customer experience that you just wouldn't get in a supermarket.
Well, Diana, listen, I wish you the very best of luck. I hope that these projects move forward and that you can keep the market going and keep those traders happy.
Thank you, Iain.
Diana, thank you very much indeed. For Aylesbury Town Centre Manager. Don't throw it back on me, Diana. I'm not the one that should be necessarily shopping in markets. Esther's from Luton. Morning, Esther.
Hello, morning.
Esther, you okay?
Yeah, just arriving at work.
Oh, okay, sorry. You're a fan of markets, are you? Why?
They're amazing places. You've got such an atmosphere. You've got all the stalls. You've got the people hollering about their goods. You know, sort of free bowls for a pound, sort of stuff like that. It's amazing.
Do that again.
Free bowls for a pound.
Free bowls for a pound. And you love all that stuff, do you?
It's like going back in time, you know, the old Catherine Cookson place where you had all that shouting in the films. It's a magical place, I think.
But do you actually buy stuff from there? You enjoy the atmosphere and the ambience, but do you buy things?
Yes, we do. We buy fruit and veg. We have a look at all the stalls because there's so much going on. And, it's got to reverse. Someone's coming out the work driveway.
Yes, okay.
Right.
You're all right, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just got going to work in case the boss sees me.
Right.
We there's lots of stuff. There's clothes shops. There's picture shops. There's fresh fish. There's even a cadet place we can get cadet stuff from. So it's a really nice market. It's St Albans Market next to the river.
Esther, listen, thank you very much. I'm glad you're enjoying it. 08459 455 555. Charlie's in Hemel. Morning, Charlie.
Good morning.
Charlie, are you Charlie, you're not Chaz from Chaz and Dave, are you?
No, we're talking things.
Oh, nice.
I'll be on your show.
I'm sorry?
I said I'll be on your show if I could.
Yeah, well, you are on my show, Charlie.
Oh, no, but I can't sing.
Well, there is debate as to whether Chaz can. It's a joke. Of course he can. He's brilliant. Now, Charlie, you're a fan of markets, are you?
Oh, yes.
Go on, tell me why.
Well, I'm on my way now. Just get my jacket on.
Do you work there?
Oh, no, I'll spend four hours a morning down there.
Doing what?
Just sit there, have a coffee or a burger. Just walk by the stall.
And do you ever buy anything there, apart from a burger?
Yeah.
Now, listen, no disrespect, you do sound like you could be a market trader. Could you do me a favour, Charlie? Could you shout, "Come on, my lovely borough pants"?
Oh, pound a bowl, pick and say, pound a bowl.
He's got them, Charlie, thank you so much. He's got the banter. When he gets bored of the coffee and burger lifestyle, I suggest he could get his own stall, selling things for £1 a bowl, I believe he was calling out there. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. Uh-oh, what's going on there? Kelly Betts, come on, I saw you shake your head. That's the universal sign of no.
Well, I'll tell you after travel and headlines, just to keep it in suspense.
Okay, but am I correct in thinking I did see the universal sign for no?
Maybe, but that could have been for something else.
Was it?
It could have been, Sophie could have said, "Do you want tea?" And I said, "No, coffee."
OK, we'll see. Let's keep our fingers crossed then. Let's have a look at the last 3 pages that we missed. The Daily Express. Statins, major breakthrough. The Daily Express, when will you stop printing rubbish? Oh, I nearly did then. Rubbish health stories on your front page. New miracle statins will help patient live without the fear of harmful side effects from heart pills, say scientists. They hope that the breakthrough will save thousands of lives. A team from the University of Dundee are working on safer and better medication. Well, I could be working on safer and better medication. It don't mean it's going to happen. The Apprentice winner, Stella, says, "I'm broke and it's all down to Lord Sugar." Turn to page 8. I'm intrigued. "Fight with sugar has cost me my marriage," says Apprentice Star. Well, I don't think you can blame that on Lord Sugar, can you? I would suggest that could possibly be down to yourself. A former Apprentice winner, Stella English, yesterday revealed she is penniless and claiming benefits. Her downward spiral was outlined during a bitter legal wrangle with one-time boss Lord Sugar. Daily Mail. Miliband's bid to fix fuel price blows up in his face. Ed Miliband was accused of economic vandalism yesterday after his shock proposal to fix energy prices wiped almost £2 billion from the value of Britain's 2 largest power firms. That won't mean nothing to... How can anybody object to a politician saying, "I'm going to freeze energy prices for 20 months while we restructure the payment system that's in place because it's unfair on the consumer"? How could anybody, apart from the head of EDF and British Gas, object to that? That seems like the most sensible thing. They're going to freeze the price because, hey, it's quite expensive. Have you noticed? They're going to freeze the price and they're going to restructure the way the payments are made and fuel is charged for and make it fairer to you. There can't be anybody who objects to that, apart from the Daily Mail. And the Sun, this is your captain sleeping. 2 captains on an aeroplane fell asleep. 08459 455 555. Neil's on the A4146. Morning, Neil.
Good morning, Ian.
Travel.
It is, yeah. We're knock-on effect for the M1, I'm guessing, but traffic coming into Hemel Hempstead from Leighton Buzzard is now piled back about 3 miles, I would say, and I've been dribbling along for about 15 minutes now. People are starting to U-turn, but just to let people know if they're coming to Hemel, give themselves extra time or find alternative routes.
Neil, thank you very much indeed. If I were you, I'd wipe up that dribbling immediately. That is not going to have any help at all. But thank you for your feedback. Let's get more on what's happening on the M1. Here's the travel with Adam.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Cheers, Ian. So the M1 northbound is still closed because of the overturned lorry and the fuel spill it left behind it. It's shut from junction 8 at Hemel Hempstead to 9 at Redbourne, with congestion solid back to the M25 at junction 6A. Now the lorry is back upright again. I'm looking at the camera now and it looks like they've removed the cab from the trailer, so they're still in the process of trying to get this all recovered. It's not likely to reopen until much later this morning. The diversion route for the closure is to follow from junction 8 the hollow triangle road signs, which will take you along the A414, the 4147, the B487, the A5183 into Redbourne, so you can rejoin the M1 at junction 9. The London-bound side, there's a 15-mile queue and there's still one lane closed off. It's the outside lane that's closed nearest the accident, of course, on the other carriageway. So congestion from Flitwick all the way down to Hemel Hempstead, with delays of at least 40 minutes. Of course, all of the diversion routes are busy. A lot of surrounding routes are busy as well. It's slow through Harpenden and through Dunstable, in particular on the A5, very slow. The A414 Link Road has been closed off. This is the old M10. They've shut that to stop people from joining the M1. And looking at the M1 cameras right now, it looks like some of the traffic that's been stuck there since about 6:15 this morning, the people at the front of it anyway, is now being turned around. So traffic that's trying to get onto the official diversion route at the A414 there is currently being held, and some of the traffic is being turned around so that it can join the diversion to get round the closure. You've also got the closure of the exit slip roads from the M25 to the M1. They're closed to stop people from joining the back of the queue, but it of course is causing delays along the M25 and pretty stop-start traffic through the roadworks section on the M25 as well. Some people seem to be taking the A507 and trying to go across through Clop Hill as far as the A1, possibly as an alternate route. That's starting to look quite busy through Clop Hill as well. A few busy spots through the rest of the three counties. If you're stuck in those, then do let us know, or if you can update us on the problems on the M1, the number's 08459 455 555. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
8:48, it's Thursday the 26th of September. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. There are heavy delays on the M1 and surrounding areas this morning after a lorry overturned, hitting the central reservation and forcing the closure of the northbound stretch between junctions 8 and 9. A Bedfordshire man is raising serious concerns about local NHS provision for children, claiming his son was left with a deep head wound for 20 hours despite being taken to two different hospitals. In sport, Javier Hernandez's goal early on in the second half was enough for Manchester United to beat Liverpool 1-0 at Old Trafford. Coming up, hopefully, we better have Chaz, otherwise I'm looking at someone who's about to get the sack.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Very good morning to you. Well, we're into some slightly fresher air now, so you will notice the difference. It won't feel quite so humid, but still nice and warm in the sunshine, and we will see plenty of sunny spells developing. A little bit of cloud around through the course of the morning, bit of mist too towards southern areas. That won't last too long though. And temperatures today win the best of the sunshine, all the way up to 17 or 18 degrees Celsius. That's 64 in Fahrenheit. It will of course stay dry. Overnight tonight it's going to feel a lot chillier, so temperatures down to single figures actually in the rural spots, holding at around 11 or 12 degrees in many of the towns. The chillier start to the day tomorrow, but plenty more autumn sunshine on the way. Highs again 18 degrees. We can expect to see perhaps a little bit of wet weather towards southern areas of the three counties as we head into the weekend, but I think for the most part it is going to be a dry weekend, quite bright and really quite breezy as well. That's the forecast.
Roberto Perrone on BBC Three Counties Radio.
If you're at home, sit back, because this is going to be very, very interesting. You've got the selfie, the legsy, the bumsy.
You're going to start that trend.
Roberto Perrone.
We seem to be heading headlong into war again.
We're very keen to stop this from happening.
We don't know where this might lead. The lie that took us into the Iraq War could become a shocking truth in this one.
Roberto Perrone. Weekdays from 3 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. I'm laughing because I suspect I'm being set up a little bit here as Kelly Betts desperately tries to claw on to her job here at BBC Three Counties Radio. All this week, I got sent earlier this week the brand new Chaz and Dave single, When Worlds Collide. I think it's a cracking record. I love Chaz and Dave. They're kind of perceived as a bit of a joke, and they shouldn't be, because they have written... They're as good as Ray Davies of the Kinks when it comes to summing up British life. I genuinely mean that. They've written some of the greatest kind of British pop songs of all time. Got sent the new single, When Two Worlds Collide. We played it. It divided opinion, if I'm honest. I loved it. Justin Dealey, you loved it, didn't you, fella? Oh, Justin, where are you? Oh, hang on. We'll connect Justin in a second. Because Justin Dealey is a big fan, aren't you, Justin? No, he's coming up in a second. Right, Kelly Betts, your job is literally... hanging by a thread. There he is.
Hello, boss.
Hello, Justin. No, seriously, there's no tongue-in-cheek.
Hang on a second. That's what happens when two worlds collide. We love this single, don't we?
I love it, and genuinely, our tongues are not in our cheek. I think Chaz and Dave are fantastic songwriters. Because they're kind of that kind of Cockney rock and roll thing, they don't get taken seriously.
No, this is the new single, When Two Worlds Collide. It's released on the 28th of October. Some great quotes here. Jules Holland says, Chaz and Dave are amazing musicians. They could play the pants off a lot of people. And The Guardian, clever quote here, Chaz and Dave, there ain't no more pleasing sound.
If you got locked in a boozer, right, and there was a piano and a guitar, and there was Chris Martin from Coldplay, or there was Chaz and Dave, I know which ones would get the pub up and down and singing and dancing.
Yeah, do you know what, Chaz and Dave, they're absolutely fantastic. I have actually been in a boozer with Chaz and Dave before.
For you.
Yeah, they were great.
Now listen, you've been asking people, you've been taking this record out and playing it on your Ghetto Blaster today. What's been the opinion?
Well, the opinion has been interesting. Yes, I've been selling Chaz and Dave to the people of Bedfordshire this morning. I took this single out onto the streets, and Ian, here's what happened.
That's what happens when two worlds collide.
Hey, Lou, what do you reckon? It's great, isn't it?
It's all right.
All right.
I'm not into Chaz and Dave.
Can you score it out of 10 for me?
4.
4? 4? No, wash your mouth out now.
I thought they'd split up.
Oh, yeah. You're refusing to listen to Chaz and Dave. What's going on? Why?
Because it's music my grandparents would listen to.
You don't like Chaz and Dave?
No.
They're legends.
I know they are, but no.
Come and listen to my Ghetto Blaster, come on.
No.
Last chance.
No. Thank you.
Here, Ryan, you got a Spurs tattoo on your leg. You must be a massive Chaz and Dave fan.
Oh, yeah, huge fan, mate. Yeah, huge fan, yeah.
This is the new single. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not too bad. Prefer Rabbit, though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, that was a long time ago, though.
Yeah, it was a little while ago, but the oldies are the best, aren't they?
Yeah, they're taking it forward. So this single you're hearing now, would you go out and buy that? Is that a yes?
Yeah, I'll go and buy it, mate. Yeah, buy the album, the lot.
That's what happens.
Morning, sir. What's your name?
Glenn.
Glenn. It's the new Chaz and Dave single. What do you think?
Yeah, it might grow on me, but I don't think it will.
It's a grower.
It might be. It might be.
First time I heard it, I love this record. Absolutely fantastic.
It could grow on me. I'm not a big music fan, but it could grow on me. We'll see.
Wendy, I've got my Ghetto Blaster here today. I'm feeling it. It's the new Chaz and Dave single. Come on, how great is this?
It's different, but it's good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do like it, actually.
Can you give it a score out of 10 for us?
Oh, 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10?
Yeah.
That's the best score so far?
Yeah, I do like that.
What happens? Come on, Wendy.
Can I? Okay.
When two worlds collide. It's catchy, isn't it?
It is.
So you're going to go and buy it?
Yes, definitely.
Good for you, Wendy.
Fantastic. We got there, Justin. She loved it, and she's right too. Justin, stay on the line.
Yeah, I will do.
Please do. We've got a couple of guests. Now, we're joined now. I'm not convinced. Is that Chaz?
Chaz here, yeah. Hello?
Is that Chaz from Chaz and Dave?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Is that... Hang on a minute. I've spoken to Chaz. I've met
That's
Chaz.
Not Chaz.
That's not Chaz. You sound like you're about 40.
Yeah, no, I'm Chaz. This is Chaz Hodges. From Chaz and Dave.
It's not Chaz Hodges.
Chaz,
who has she got?
Chaz, give us a little sing-song to prove it's you. Go on.
I phoned up last night, she was going spare, she was in a temper, pulling out her hair. Sister's caught in a scruffy little head, father don't give a monkeys, this is what you see.
Well, I tell you what, that wasn't bad. There is one woman who would know whether this is Chaz or not. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mrs. Chaz. It's Joan Hodges. Morning, Joan.
Good morning, Ian. How are you?
I'm fine. Is it nice to hear your husband on the other line?
It's definitely not my husband.
Is it? Who are you, sir, you imposter?
I'm Keith from Daz and Shave, the tribute Chaz and Dave.
There's a tribute. There's a Daz and Shave, Chaz and Dave tribute act.
That's it. How are you, Joan?
Yes, very, very well. You sound more like Mike Berry, actually.
Joan, have
we last met at the Dominion Theatre, Tottenham Court Road.
I do remember that in the foyer.
Joan, is that not weird that your husband has got a tribute act to him?
Not really, because I think there's a load out there, isn't there?
There's a few.
Yeah.
Fake Chaz, when you play, what kind of audiences are you getting, and what sort of age are they?
All ages, really. Weddings and birthday parties all over England. Very good audiences. Mixed age.
And it's a popular... Listen, Fake Chaz, we shall let you go, but thank you so much for being a good sport. That's from Daz and Shave. Joan Hodges, lovely to speak to you, my dear. How are you doing?
Very, very well, Ian.
Where on earth is your old man?
He is sound asleep because he didn't get in from... Well, he worked late, right through till 4 o'clock this morning.
Where's he been working?
Well, he was writing last night.
Oh, what's he writing? Not another gardening book?
No, music.
Fantastic.
He writes up until 4 o'clock in the morning.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Because Chaz and Dave, they've had mixed fortunes, and I do think they're overlooked, and I genuinely mean it. I think that some of their songs are as good as Ray Davies of the Kinks.
Oh, absolutely.
In summing up British life.
Yeah, definitely. And this new album, I was lucky enough to be in Abbey Road when they were recording it, and the absolute vibe there was magical. When Jules came in, it was absolutely brilliant.
There's a lot of affection for them. They're doing a huge tour, aren't they?
Massive tour. And also we find it's people that really, really know music, love Chaz and Dave.
Yeah. Here.
All the others are cloth ears as far as I'm concerned.
I think you're absolutely right. I
do. And I'm not just saying that. I think their music is real. They've never tried to prove anything other than just write good music and let people enjoy themselves. And that is so evident at the gigs, because you never get a miserable person going out from the Chaz and Dave gig.
Joan, we're running out of time, but very quickly, where can we find out details about the tour, and when can I come and get a free ticket, please?
Well, ring up any time, Ian. You'll have to come to the Christmas show at the O2 on the 14th, and you can pre-order the album on Amazon.
Joan, listen, lots of love. Nice to speak to you. We'll meet up again soon. Send our best to Chaz.
Will do, and love to you and all your listeners.
Speak to you later on. Excellent stuff. Dealey, thank you, boss.
Yeah, thank you, Ian. Absolute pleasure.
Good work. Wasn't that? We've introduced the legends to a new generation of fans. There we go. Thank you, Justin. Right. Here's the travel.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
And it's the M1 northbound that's been causing problems this morning. It is still closed because of the overturned lorry. Now, the lorry has been righted again, but it left quite a big fuel spill, and it's going to take them a while to fully recover it. It's still shut Hemel Hempstead to Redbourne Junction 8 to 9. Your official diversion route, follow the hollow triangle signs. It'll take you along the A414, the 4147, the B487, and the 5183 to Redbourne. It is very, very slow on that diversion route. Also slow on the surrounding routes. You can expect delays and queues in and around Hemel, Redbourne, Luton, Dunstable, Markgate and Harpenden. And the London-bound M1, about a 15-mile queue from Flitwick down toward where the scene of the accident is on the other carriageway. They've also closed off one lane while they continue with the recovery. They've also shut the A414 Link Road. This is northbound Old M10, and it's to try and stop traffic from joining the M1 problems. They've also closed the exit slips from the M25 onto the M1 again to stop people from queuing. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Adam. We're going to have a little sing-song. JBS is up next. Till tomorrow. Ta-ta.
Vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good Lord. Thank you very much, Ian. Good morning. Welcome to the JBS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon-Smith. It's